Friends, hello. August 6, 2023, Virtual Strangers, episode 195 is live. I'm your host, Wes. With me, as always, are my good friends, Eric. What are you doing here, bro? I didn't even think you were on the show anymore.
Dude, it's been forever. I feel so bad, too. Like, when I can't do it or can't make it, I feel so bad. Like, I feel like I'm, like, letting everybody down. It sucks. But you know what? You can't fake it when we're talking about games, and I just never feel comfortable coming on if I can't talk intelligently about the games. So a lot of times it's just like I bail because, you know, it makes me feel bad when I bail, but I never want to come on here and, like, try and fake it through it. I would just rather not be here, and I had some time today, and we're here now.
It's all right, man. It's like you're a special guest when you're on there. Like, it's a special thing.
I know. We're gonna try and be more here more often. I promise.
No, we're not. We're gonna cancel all the shows. We're too busy.
You look
too busy to do shows, bro.
Your house looks really empty.
Dude, it's empty. Like, it's all boxes. Like, there's my whole entire backdrop that you normally see just in boxes.
And your family's even gone. You're back. You shipped everything, even your wife and your kid away.
Tomorrow, my wife and daughter leave for Florida. Yeah, Charlie starts school on like Tuesday or Wednesday or something like that. So yeah, I'll be here by myself holding the fort down here for a while. And guys, I got to show you something real quick. I know Wes wants to get to the intro, but this is super cool. My wife just literally found this. When you're cleaning out your house and you're moving after you've been somewhere for years and years and years, you find little nuggets like one of these.
Oh yeah, that thing's worth some money.
Wow. Wow.
This is a 1985 Blockbuster video card.
I'm
like in good shape.
I'm surprised your daughter hasn't grabbed. My kids used to play with all the sorts of stuff like that. Old licenses, old credit cards. Oh.
I bet that's suspended too, isn't it? Like you didn't rewind.
I didn't rewind.
You forgot to rewind. Yeah.
Oh yeah, didn't even return it probably.
No, I'm screwed.
Yeah.
And of course, my good friend Ruuts. Doesn't Mash's room there look kind of like an escape room?
Yeah, I was just trying to see how he's going to get out of there. Mash, it looks like you're fucked, man. I don't know. It looks very puzzle-ish.
I'm getting out of here. I know.
The room VR.
Yeah, Mash was just saying when we were checking out a couple games before the show that his play space is a lot smaller than normal. So
it's tiny because I got these stairs right behind me now, so it's like I can barely move. Like, what you see on the other side of the stairs back there is normally my whole play space. I mean, it's huge. It's like I usually have that entire space for my setup and then wherever I play VR. And now I have this tiny little cove over here.
You can't play VR on the stairs? What a noob.
I could. I'd probably die, but I could.
Well, you could do mixed reality. That'd be cool.
Oh, my God. Mark Smith says 1985. That was the year he was born.
Oh, wow. That's making me feel a little bit old. But
yeah, a little bit old.
Yeah.
Young man. What a young man Mark Smith is, huh?
Yeah.
The 80s. At least he got to experience the 80s, though. Some of it.
I remember 1985. I do, vaguely, but I do remember it.
Yeah.
Anyway, welcome, friends. I'm glad we're back. We actually have a full show this week, Roots. How about that? Like, it's not a half episode. We're going to do a full 2 hours plus tonight.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a full show. And I guess it's been needed, right? We haven't had too many long shows for a while.
Yeah, and there's actually cool shit on the cutting room floor this week because for those of you who didn't catch the title line, we are largely focusing on our VR Game of the Month discussion during this episode. So there was actually some good stuff that fell to the wayside. Most of it meta-centric. So if you're a patron, be sure to go check out the show notes because there's some really cool stuff in there on Quest 3. There's some cool stuff on Asgard's Wrath 2. They're starting, Eric, to open up the floodgates a little bit on Asgard's Wrath 2, and I'm starting to get excited for it.
Yeah, a new trailer came out last week, man. It looks super good. I'm excited.
Yeah, me too.
I wish they would have named it a different name, though. Like, they could have made it anything else. It didn't have to be Asgard's Wrath 2. I mean, 90% of the people that are probably going to play it have never played the first one. So, I mean, it's just weird when you're only catering it to the well, as we know right now, they're only catering it to the standalone audience. So, I don't know.
What would you name it?
Asgard's Revenge or whatever. Just don't put a 2 next to it. You can still keep the Asgard in the name, just don't put the 2 next to it.
Yeah, I just hope that they revamped the melee. I didn't care for it as much. Oh, although a lot of people say that you could have tuned in the first one. You can tune down the so you don't have to do like the special extra moves or whatever, which I did right away. Like I played it the way they intended it for like 10 minutes, and then I said I am not going through and I don't like to in melee games, and I guess this is a big thing, but I don't like to use that aspect where you block and then hit. Like I just that's not me. Don't force me to play that way. So
I do like that, but I agree that they kind of took it overboard. Like I think a single parry should open you up to be able to do what you need to do, unless you're in like a boss fight or something.
Right. Then it's different, and that's the word I was looking for. I couldn't forget or remember as parry. Yeah, absolutely. So
do you think there's any way we get Asgard's Wrath on PlayStation or on Quest 3? Like,
absolutely.
I don't see why not.
I think that most of what we're seeing in terms of the footage is probably Quest 3 footage because it looks great.
No, I mean the original
first one. I don't
see
why
the
not.
Original.
I mean that's the only thing. That's the only reason. That's the only thing that makes sense to me. Like if they're gonna do Asgard's Wrath 2, and they're only gonna make it standalone,
right?
Why wouldn't they try and take Asgard's Wrath, the original, and put it on the Quest 3?
That makes sense.
Because I don't think it'll run on the 2.
That's logic. Because how do you bring out a sequel? Because you just nailed it with the name. Like you continue the name, the sequel, but you don't have, for the people that never played it, they don't have PSVR. What are they sequeling to? You have to have the first one, right? You would think. I don't know.
You would think, but yeah, right. You don't know. I would hope that as Meta releases increasingly capable standalone hardware, that they would start to port some of that back catalog into VR, not just Asgard's Wrath, but bring Stormland, bring Wilson's Heart, bring
Edge of Nowhere.
Edge of Nowhere. Yeah, bring some of these Gen 1 classics back from the dead, because they're still the best games we've seen in VR to date for the most part.
We never would, and of course, who knows how close we are to legit cloud gaming, because I still submit that once they get that, then they'll have everybody hooking up. Or if you want to play Asgard's Wrath, you're going to have to hook up through our site and do our service, and you can hook up to these PC games and experience a new level of VR gaming. Like I can just see the advertisement right now, and I think we're closer than we think.
Yeah, and the Quest 3, for what it's worth, is coming with some greasy, fast networking equipment built into it. The FCC filings from this past week reveal that it is confirmed now that MetaQuest 3 does, in fact, incorporate Wi-Fi 6E into the hardware. So for those of you who have $200 routers out there, you're going to be able to fully utilize those. And that kind of goes to what you were saying, Rich. If they keep the PCs up in the cloud, having that fast router and fast networking equipment on board is certainly going to allow for you to stream some pretty high quality games.
Yeah, absolutely. And Sion's got a point. Cloud gaming only works if you don't have shitty internet, and that's what Elon Musk has been running around the world putting satellites up for. Well, one of the reasons. I still submit some of it's military.
Shitty internet for everyone in the world.
Yes, shitty. But yeah, as soon as they can get the signal completely.
Everybody's saying the intro music is playing, Roots.
I don't. Oh, it probably did for a second because I it's gone now. Okay, so this is what happened. Wes started talking about meta stuff, and I panicked, and so I switched to the intro scene real quick, and then I remembered what the intro scene was, and I said, oh shit, that's not what he's talking about. So I switched back, and then it like reset that music, so you guys got to enjoy it a second time.
Switchback VR.
Yeah.
Ooh, switchback.
Yeah.
Yep.
So why don't we talk about the intro scene for a minute then, anyway, because we were here 7 days ago on our 194.5 episode talking about Horizon Worlds and how it's about to get a whole lot better, because the engine's about to change and allow you to import assets from outside of Worlds in there, which is going to open up a lot of avenues for creators. So here we are in the second week in a row talking about Worlds, but we're talking about something very different this week, Eric, as it looks like UFC is building, or at least Meta is building for them, their own little space within Horizon Worlds where people are going to be able to go and not only watch fights in VR, but there's going to be all sorts of fan service and activities in there for us to participate in as well. Pretty cool.
This makes a lot of sense. I mean, just bring in things that will push people into Horizons. I mean, like, if it's not doing as well as Meta wants it to, how do we get people in there? Like, you need to put things in there to draw people in, and that will get more people in there. That will spark more conversation with people in there. That will get more people involved with things that are in there. I absolutely think it's a great idea. We were talking in my show on Thursday. Why wouldn't you take a dead game like Echo Arena and stick it and stick it into Horizon Worlds? So you can't just play it normally anymore, but you can go play it in Horizon Worlds, and you have to go into Horizon Worlds to do it. These are the things that get people into Horizon Worlds. If you're trying to build an audience in there to get the amount of people you want in, like Rec Room or VR Chat, how do you do it? You need things that will pull people in. Things like Echo would pull people in, and then you just make it free. Don't worry about seasons. Don't worry about anything else. Use it as a tool to help you build Horizon Worlds, just like they're going to do with the UFC. I think this is awesome, man. You know how many people? Yeah, can you imagine watching in VR, being able to watch it, and how many people you would draw in to do it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, this makes me want to go in there, and Roots. I've been following UFC for pretty much my whole adult life, as you know. One thing that I know about Dana White is he's not going to do something if it sucks. So I'm pretty confident, even though Horizon Worlds has pretty much sucked up until this point, I'm pretty sure this is going to be awesome just because it has those 3 letters attached to it.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Dana White would not do anything that's going to be half-ass. And that's the biggest thing, that as long as it's a good quality thing. Because it's funny, I was just talking to, watching some wrestling downstairs with Dee and our other roommate today, and was saying that UFC would be great in VR. And then this article I saw popped up, and I agree with it 100% with what Mash said. Got to give them something to draw them in, and maybe that's what they're. I don't know. I don't think that's what they're doing with Echo Arena, but that would be amazing if all of a sudden it came back from the dead, right?
They should. Yeah. If they're not thinking about doing it, they should.
Yeah.
I think it's going away for a reason, and I think that they fully intend for something else to take its place. They want that big multiplayer esport of the next gen to be, done on Meta's servers as well. I just don't think we know what that is quite yet, but it's coming.
Yeah, I mean, I would be happy with an Echo Arena type of game with just a different take on it. I mean, I like the movement. I mean, I wasn't good at it. I just feel like it was kind of boring. It's been around forever. They could come up with a revamped version, right? So,
Eric, how do you finish a heel hook if the characters don't have any legs? That's what I'm wondering.
That's a good question. That's a really good question.
That was for you, Scion. Scion's been trying to drop a no legs joke in here for about 5 minutes, so I thought I'd appease him. So shout out Scion. Mr. Lord Beavis says Zuck versus Elon win. UFC 300. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen during that landmark episode, which is going to take place mid next year sometime. So UFC 300, that's my prediction. If that fight happens, that's where it will happen.
Make the match only available in VR in Horizon Worlds.
Yeah, that would be amazing, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think Elon wants people to watch them.
I'm not saying all of that one, but just make that match where it only is televised in Horizon Worlds.
Televised in Horizon Worlds, UFC Fight Pass, or streaming live on X.
Yeah, it's going to be on X for sure.
Yeah.
I like that. I like it. Everyone got upset about the Twitter Just because that name's been used for how long, everybody's used to it. That's kind of a dumb name too.
People have been upset about Twitter since he bought it. It doesn't matter what he does and how good or bad it is. People are going to complain no matter what, just because it's him doing it. So
Yeah, that's true.
whatever, man. I don't care what they call it. They can call it X or Twitter or whatever. I don't care.
Yeah, name really doesn't
Everybody's
matter.
going to Threads. What are you talking about?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right.
What happened to
Yeah,
that
right,
platform, man? Everybody's like, yeah, let's go to Threads. It's
We-
like crickets over there, man.
Well, you want to know the biggest problem that they had over at Threads? Within 5 minutes, they were starting to immediately fact check and censor people. And this is what people were like, fuck this, man. I thought we were out of here, out of this. So people just don't want to be censored anymore. I don't, anyway.
Virtual Strangers 196 live only on X.
You heard it here now.
If we weren't doing video games, I would probably do that. If we were talking about anything like real life, real world, that would be where I would do it at. Luckily, the subject matter here allows us to dance around the community guidelines just fine.
That is true. It is very difficult to have a channel on YouTube for certain topics. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Anything that's important, pretty much.
Yeah.
Anyways, we do have a banger of an episode lined up. So let's do roll call here. We already said hello to Scion. What's up, Scion? He says the new Echo Arena has no legs. It's totally different. That's true.
Totally different in a flying game with no gravity where your legs don't.
Do you
matter.
need legs though in that game? Like, what do you
No.
do you need a leg for?
You
Like,
don't.
what?
Can
You
you?
don't. You only need a torso and arms.
You don't. You need legs for almost any game unless you're running. But then again, I don't know. Very bizarre.
Awesome Tatum, WrestleMania in VR. I'd be there for sure, man. I'm a fan of 3D entertainment, no matter what form it comes in. And I would say I've been a wrestling fan as long as I can remember, which is technically true. I don't watch it anymore. Not in the sense that I used to. Like all through college and stuff, I watched every minute of content they put out. I would watch Nitro and tape Raw, and as soon as Nitro went off, I would watch Raw. I don't watch it like that anymore. I do keep up with it a little bit though. I watch clips on YouTube. I watch mainly AEW stuff, a little bit of NWA, and there are certain people on WWE that I'll click on every now and then to check out. But yeah, man, put WrestleMania. I mean, the type of production that they put on for WrestleMania these days is something that I think would translate very well to VR, and it would be an amazing show, I'm sure.
Well, here's the reality. Like, I would never go to a WrestleMania or any of those shows in person for a lot of reasons. One, the cost, the seat that you have, your view. Like, even if you have a good seat, your view isn't as good. But then you have television where I can watch it, and that I have the best seat in the house, right? Well, then you take it up a step where you're in VR, where now you're in the at ringside, and you're actually looking around. You're in the experience. That's that's the only way that's going to get me to stop watching something on my TV. Is you've got to give me something better than what TV gives me. Right now, TV is the best seat in the house, right? That's free. Well, unless you have to pay for the show. But even if you're paying for the show, it's still better than going in person, with the exception of, the experience of being there, which I don't think is worth the hassle of all the bullshit that comes with it. But I think being in VR would give you all of that and more. So
I'd pay for that. I would pay if they did UFC like that, where I was cage side, with a couple of different views. Give me like the front row view. Give me the top of the ring post view looking down into the octagon. Like, I've seen some stuff. Bellator did some stuff years ago that was VR, and at the time the technology wasn't as far along as it is now, but it was still awesome. It gave you a few different views like that, and you could instantly see the potential. But if they were to do that with like UFC pay-per-views, I would buy it every month.
Absolutely.
Dude. It would be
Everybody
so great.
remember,
Give me the referee cam too. I want a camera right on the referee.
Remember that concert we went to a couple years ago, or I guess it's been a couple years, right?
Yeah.
And it was so good back then, and it didn't have UFC money behind it and meta money behind it. I guess it probably had some meta money, but the cameras are so much better now, and if they're using the top of the line stuff as what they would be using, it should be cutting edge, and I think it'll be really cool. And it'll be interesting to see because they're trying to get ahead of Apple because Apple's going to have all this kind of really cool shit, right? So it's kind of a race we're starting to see form here. So
yeah, we're slowly moving into the next iteration, and I know there's a lot of negativity and skepticism out there among people within our bubble, because they really don't see the big picture and what's happening. We're transitioning right now. The technology, for the first time since it launched back in 2016, the technology is changing in fundamental ways right now, and what that has meant, especially when you factor in the pandemic, it has meant a slowdown on the software side as people have frozen projects from the last gen hardware and started developing projects for the next gen hardware. That takes time and money to complete, especially if it's going to be at the quality level that we all expect it to be at. So that has led to kind of a little bit of a lull, and when you pair that with the restructuring by Meta late last year and a couple of other things, it's kind of given people who are pessimistic by nature a lot of ammunition to kind of fuel them, so to speak. But we're right on the edge right now, and I think the launch of the Quest 3 is just going to be the next step of many steps that over the next 12 to 18 months see us land in a whole new place for our technology and our community. So I can't wait. I'm very excited personally. And it's the calm before the storm.
Yeah, it's an exciting time.
I'm there too. But yeah, I'm there. I'm super excited for this next headset. But you know what they got to be careful of with this UFC thing? It has to be done good. Like,
right.
Like, remember who was the concert we went to? It was Post Malone. That was a janky mess. I mean, you could go in there and it would just freeze on you. Some people couldn't get in. What they can't do here is they can't fall on their face if they do this. And, if they get UFC in there where you're watching, they have to make it to where it's smooth and people can get in it and not have problems or issues.
They need the buzz. They need the buzz. They need people to be talking about it. They need somebody to be jealous that they didn't see this thing in VR. You know what I mean? Like, that's how good it needs to be. To the point where people are talking about it for weeks, like that was the best fucking way to watch it ever. And I think it will be. I think what Wes said is true. I think Dana White and that combination between Meta, Mark Zuckerberg, and Dana White is going to be a good combination. And I agree with you, Scion, and I disagree. He says Horizon is going to fail unless they dramatically add a ton of worthwhile content. I agree, but they're going to. They're not charging for it. It's a part of their platform, and they're slowly building it. And so it's not. It has a very smaller chance to fail, right? Because they're not pinning anything on it, and there's no deadline, and they're just slowly unrolling this stuff. But I think they will succeed. That's just my gut.
Absolutely. And then what's going to happen when the mixed reality technology starts to factor into Horizon Worlds? It's going to change it like it's about to change everything else. And it's just stepping stones to that ultimate place where we're going to get with these all-in-one devices that do AR and VR very well many years down the line with varifocal and all the bells and whistles. This is just the next step in that, and things are about to change fundamentally.
Yeah.
What's up, Fide Lozix? Good to see you. What's up, Awesome Tatum? Mickey Barrios is here. Says, I used to watch ECW in a small blurry screen on my computer before they made it to TV. ECW and VR would have been awesome. Agreed. I was just watching yesterday. I watched a compilation of New Jack diving out of the rafters like a madman. Rest in peace, New Jack. I watched a few documentaries on that guy yesterday just because he fascinates me. He broke a guy's leg in the ring. He stabbed a guy. He was a real piece of shit.
He stabbed a guy?
Yeah.
What did he stab him with?
A knife.
What?
Well,
he was a guy that you didn't cross, man, and you didn't disrespect. So yeah.
That's crazy.
YouTube New Jack ECW and watch. There's some crazy shit, dude. He did some crazy shit.
Cool.
He didn't bite
Scott,
somebody's ear off. That's the craziest thing I've ever seen.
That was crazy.
No, he didn't do that. Scott, the PSVR Game Cap for Life is here. Distract is here, as is Substatica, Technoglitch. JS is here. What's up, Ryan Brandon? What's up, Mark Smith? Ion the Icon is here. Gabriel 004, the License to Meow Game Cat. Creeper Betty's here. Betty just did released the first episode of her. Was it weekly, Betty? She's doing a VR news show now, and it was really cute, and I enjoyed it. She put it on our Discord.
Super
Did
cool.
a really good job with it.
Yeah, way to go, Betty. Everyone subscribe to Creeper Betty VR. Who else is here?
Radio Runt just says, yo, yo, yo.
What's up, Radio Runt?
Radio Runt. Idaho. I wasn't going to do it.
There we
But
go.
it just
I was
didn't
gonna say, I
sound
didn't hear
right.
you, Idaho.
It didn't sound right without it.
I was waiting on it. I didn't. Looper the Underground Game Cat is here. Grimrock is here. Grimrock just joined us on Discord, I do believe. What's up, Grimrock?
Nice.
Brandon C says hello from Austin, the new capital of the United States, Austin, Texas.
That's what I heard.
Yeah.
It's either that or Denver, Colorado.
Mr. Lord Beavis, I played all of Cyberpunk 2077 using GeForce Now and my crappy laptop. Well, congratulations on that. Who else is here? People are here. Onakazu's here. Pre-orders get Asgard's Wrath 1 for PC. That's true. That's true. It makes you wonder. Makes you wonder if they're going to bring it right along with some cross-buy action.
That makes sense.
Creeper Betty's playing your favorite game right now, Garden of the Sea, while she's listening to us. How cool.
Betty, what are you doing in Garbage of the Sea?
No, man. I've heard it's really good.
Did you watch her stream? She talked about it forever.
She mentioned you by name. I don't know if you caught it. It was really quick.
She did. She mentioned me by name, and she named her little pet Mash.
Did she really?
Yeah.
Oh, how cool.
It was super special. That was the only part of the stream I loved. No, I'm kidding. If it wasn't for Betty, though, I'm like, man, this game is just not for me.
Well, that's a better way to say it, because it's just not. It is a good game. People really enjoy it. It's just not.
I mean, Betty made it look fun because it was Betty, but man, if I was ever in there on my own, I would probably have to gouge my eyes out.
You just got to summon your inner Betty and play it. I don't even know what that means.
So Radio Run's not getting a Fallout 4 stream. He's gonna get a Garbage of the Sea stream from Wes.
That's a good idea. I think that would probably be better. Although I don't think Wes would enjoy it as much. He's probably been waiting.
I miss Fallout 4.
Yeah,
I miss Fallout 4, dude. I watched a video yesterday on comparing the size of different maps from the games over the last 1 to 2 decades. And that Fallout 4 fell right in the middle, but it's a really, really huge map. One of the biggest in VR and completely open world, which is something that we don't have enough of in VR. So.
No. So I think what you need to do to be able to make it pertinent is we actually do a modded segment where we mod the game, and then we all get to go into the game, and Wes gets to stream it as well. Win-win-win.
Yeah, we'll do that after we finish Uncharted.
Yes.
Mash,
oh God,
I'm so excited that you guys didn't finish it.
Yeah, we decided to go 2 weeks on that one. For the first time ever, we're going to cover the same game 2 weeks in a row because it's so good.
But Mash, I didn't know. He said he's never played 4.
Not
it
4.
was 1 and 2.
I played the first 3.
Oh,
first 3.
So this is fresh for him as well, Wes. Isn't that crazy?
Oh, you're going to love this. You're going to love this, Mash. You're going to love it so much. It ties into those first games. You're going to.
I'm already loving it, and I didn't even play the first.
I mean, the first 2 I played through several times. I mean, it's probably one of my all-time favorite series, and I just haven't even played the 4th just because I got out of flat gaming, and I never got a chance to go in and 4 and finish it. But yeah, I mean, I'll be able to do it in VR now, which is even better.
Right.
For the first time.
This Friday, ladies and gentlemen, 5 days from now, we're going to deep dive on this one. And yeah, I'm so happy. I'm thrilled for you because this is the conclusion of the story that you've been living out through the latter half of your life, pretty much on PlayStation.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Substatica says Legends of Asgard. There you go. That one works.
That would have been good. Yeah. Or Asgard's Wrath 2. One of the
Yeah, I mean, again, if you're going to bring it, that makes sense. But if you're not going to bring it, it doesn't make a whole bunch of sense to me.
Who always brings it? VR Spry guy. He's here.
I thought you were my mom in it. And I guess her and Spry Guy always bring it.
They always bring it together sometimes.
Together, yeah.
What's up, D? What's up, Geisen? What's up? A hippie fury mauled my game cat's pickle in the smoke.
Well, I'll tell
That's
you
hippie
what.
pickle. Hippie pickle. We all know it's you.
You know, I almost changed my name as I'm on the thing in this graphics, but I'm not good on Photoshop. But I was going to change it to T-Hawk or Tony Hawk because with that VR skater game, I felt like when I came out of there, like Tony Hawk ain't nothing on me, bro. I could do ollies and nollies.
Yeah. Nolly Ollie.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Decepticon's here. What's up, Decepticon? Do we say hi to Mark Smith? What's up, Mark Smith? I think I tell him hi twice every week, but what's up? Alexander Ritter joining us from Deutschland.
Cool.
Guten Abend.
Tech says
Guten
the
Nacht.
Lost Legacy is
Guten
really
Nacht.
good too, and Wes has not played through the Lost Legacy, right?
I have not played Lost Legacy, and that will probably be a natural progression for me if it weren't for the fact that by the time we're done with this game, the legit VR games are going to start rolling in for August, and there's a lot of them coming.
Mm-hmm.
Right, but will any of them be on the level of Uncharted 4? That'd be a good question.
It's kind of an apples and oranges comparison, but I'm pretty excited for Firewall Ultra and Crossfire Sierra Squad.
I'm more excited about Crossfire than I am Firewall, and I'll tell you why. I've played Firewall. Now, I haven't played the new one, but I've played the base game, and I've played Breachers, and I just feel like there's a very big hole in anything that's campaign-based gun. That's a really good story-based gun game, right? So I'm excited to see how good it is.
Me too. Q Creators here. What up? Hussein X, Rogue TR, Matt and Kuda. Check, and check. What up? Flame Hat. Yo, Samson, 143VR. What's up, Samson? What's up, Traveling Man 3775? Who else? Anyone else? Je ne sais quoi with us. Hello, Jenna. Ryan B, what's up?
I think what Science says is the opposite for me. He says Crossfire looks too arcadey for me. That's why I like it. I want an arcadey type of shooter. I'm not looking for another simulator. So
I'm excited to have a shooter that's campaign based, that isn't like science fiction. It's grounded in reality, but has good production values and huge set pieces. This is going to be one of those fast-paced games where shit's blowing up and there's explosions everywhere, and it's going to be one of those.
More like the Call of Duties that I was talking about earlier. That's what I'm looking for, and I don't think there's really anything that's like that. I guess we were talking about that before the show. So,
Just living 00 for the algorithm. What's up, Just living?
Radio Runt. It's funny you said that because that's exactly what I said before the show. We were talking about, and Wes and Eric were telling me they disagree, but he says I need a story FPS in VR because Zero Caliber sucks. I just said I don't have any interest to go back into that game. I've had my fill. I want something more like Crossfire, something new. I really am looking forward to it. Although I do think Firewall Ultra is going to be amazing. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's not going to be an amazing game, and I don't look forward to it. I'm just looking more forward to the campaign-based co-op. So,
Cooked Worm 17, the hashtag GameCat. What's up? Bacardi B says everyone gets a participation medal. Thank you, Bacardi B.
2023.
Jay Devil Skate VR. VR Skater got me sweating. It'll do that, man.
Mm-hmm.
Alakazam said, "Man, I used to be first all the time. I'm slacking. You are slacking." And what's up, Bluebell? Bluebell says, "Alakazam, you will always be first." So I'd take that. I'd take that personally, Techno Glitch, who actually was first today. What's up, Tech? And that is as far as I can scroll. If I missed you, I apologize. Did we have any slippies today, Roots? Anybody sliding in here at the end?
I think Bluebell was actually a slippy, but you got to her already. But I think you actually did a really good job of getting to everybody today.
Nice. Just distracted. Did we say hi to Ted? What's up, Ted?
Or maybe Just Living. I don't know if you saw Just Living as well.
Alexander Reeder says, Stets beeindruckt, wenn Wes Deutscher spricht.
I was gonna say the
I
exact
know.
same thing. That's so weird.
That is so weird. I don't even know what he
Alex-
said. but I
Weird,
was-
man. How did he know?
Alexander, ich spreche nicht gut Deutsch.
I don't.
I'm
speak-
scared, dude.
Yeah.
I just told him I don't speak German very well, which is the truth. Okay.
Either do I, and I'm heading there in a few weeks.
Oh, it's gonna be amazing though, Mash. It's gonna be cool.
It'll be fun. I get to
Anyways,
demo Power
well,
Wash Simulator when I'm there.
Oh, dude.
there's a
God
lot more
dang
than
it.
that happening.
Yeah, there is, but that's I was talking to Jimmy Bowers from In Dreams, and he's like, "Hey, Mash," and he's like, "We're gonna demo Power Wash Simulator. I'm putting you down for a spot." And I'm like, "Absolutely, get me in there."
Maybe after listening to Gilman talk about it last night in GT, there's got to be something to this game, man. Like
There must be. I don't know.
Gilman was raving about the game, like he's
He
turned on
was.
families, members to it, and everything. So
Well, I wonder if Taz will make a power wash nozzle attachment
you better, man.
for your controller.
You better, Tass.
I want him to make an attachment for the amazing Steam game that we talked about the other day, President Erect.
Oh yes, we should probably buy that just to check it out. No, I don't know. That would be a little weird, but that's pretty cool.
Awesome Tatum says, Sie spricht de Deutsch. So Tatum obviously speaks a little bit of German as well.
Lawnmower man or
good on you,
lawnmower
bro.
sim 2, please. I don't know. I'm just different. Like I do all these things in real life, especially things that I consider to be work or chores. I'm not really like Mash said, he has to power wash in real life. So it's like, why would you want to go into a game no matter how cool the environments are? Unless it's SpongeBob, then it changes everything apparently. But I don't know. It's just weird. I need to try it at some point because like I need to see what GT sees,
I want to play it
Yes.
flat.
Oh,
I don't want to, I want to aim with a thumbstick when I
Yeah.
power wash.
Well, of course.
Think about that though. Think about this game and like, I don't even want to play it in VR. Could you imagine playing it flat? Like why? I don't know
People
what. Like,
love it flat though. I don't
I don't get it.
understand. I
Like-
don't either.
like if you were ever
Must have
gonna
a-
play it, VR would be the only way I'd want to. I think.
It must have good progression system or something.
Man,
Well,
You can
maybe.
upgrade your power washer.
That's the thing.
Grind for 3 days so that you can upgrade to a better power washer and clean a slightly dirtier house.
Maybe if you're just like have a real like you really want to clean stuff. Like you have a neurosis almost. It like feels good to clean. Get that dirt grime off the street. So
I want the opposite. I want hoarder VR where I can just be clinically depressed and clutter up my house with every little piece of shit, pizza
Hoarder
box
VR,
and
hoarder
soda
VR.
can. Yeah,
Oh
I might
god.
need that one day.
I feel kind of claustrophobic already.
Yeah.
Well, that's enough talking about shitty games. Let's talk about a good game. VR Skater came to PlayStation VR2 this past week. This is a game that's been rolling around on early access in Steam VR for some time. That is not VR
It
Skater.
is not even close.
If
to
it was
VR
cool,
Skater.
that would be cool. If it was, you could skate through Operation Wolf
Yeah.
shooting.
And
I
it
like
was,
it.
What's funny is it was VR Skater to begin with, and then like it must share a.
There
signal.
we
There
go.
it is.
That's the realest VR escape I've ever seen.
Yeah, that was for sure.
So I had pretty low expectations for this game. I couldn't conceive um, a way that someone would be able to accurately portray the experience of real life skating in a VR headset that doesn't track your feet. You know, you've only got your controllers and your headset, and I knew from the footage that this wasn't like a button press skateboarding game like Tony Hawk, where everything's done on the gamepad. I knew that this was an attempt to simulate the real life sensation of skating in VR, and I just didn't think that that was possible. Eric, I was wrong. This game very much feels like real life skating, and even down to the way that you do the tricks and the gestures that you do with the controller actually pretty accurately mimic the same type of movements that you would do with your feet if you were trying to do these tricks in real life. I was extremely impressed with the realism of VR Skater.
This one shocked me. Like I got in there and I had no idea what to expect. I was thinking there was another VR skater that we had for the Quest, I think, or Steam a while back that was not very good. And I was kind of like, I'm like, oh, are we going to see that again? And I got in here and I really like this game. The movement system, the way they did it is super smart. And the graphics look great. And I think you can pull off tricks pretty easily enough. I'd like to see like I didn't get enough time in it to see like how deep the trick system goes, like, and like how like you know how much more you're going to be able to do in different button presses or movements. But just the speed of it and the movement of it, and then the way you can kind of jump things and do things and get on the rails pretty easily, man, I was super impressed with this game. And I'm not a skater. I was never a skater growing up, but I was a big Tony Hawk fan, especially the video games.
Roots, it's been a while since I've been in a VR game, that I actually feel the movement in. We used to talk about this all the time when we were playing a lot of racing games and stuff, and about how some games you can feel the movement and others you can't. VR Skater absolutely makes you feel like you're moving down the road, doesn't it?
Yeah. First off, I told you it's Tony Hawk or T Hawk. You can go call me for today, just because.
Sorry, T.
Yeah, I'm just that good at this game. No, what you're saying is true. It definitely feel the movement. The only thing that I was a little bit put off with this game, and I say this tongue in cheek, is I would have thought I would have been a lot better at it. I felt, I feel like I'm better. But this is actually, like you even warned me, that these tricks are pretty technical. I mean, they're not difficult, and there's something you just need to learn. Once you learn them, they're good, right? And you're picking up just a whole bunch of different things. There's just so many. MASH, I would imagine, at least from my experience in some of the tutorials that I actually did go through, you could probably do every fucking trick under the book.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of going through the tutorials and learning how to do them.
Yep.
It's just it's super cool. This game is very, very realistic. It looked very good. The one thing that I do wish was in here, and this is no joke, and I kind of said this last time, like I want to be looking for things. I'll give me more reasons to go in there, because they have the run that where you're just going on the run, getting down the hill, and then they've got the you're doing tricks as you're going, right? A couple different modes. But I wanted to search for the letter skate, and I wanted to look for different things. And I get it. If you start doing that, then you're pretty much making Tony Hawk Skater. But it's what I want. This game was really good. I want more of it in different ways.
Yeah, we've seen similar things in like skiing games and other kind of extreme sports games where they allow collectibles, and you can have those be in whatever form that you'd like for them to be. Make them in skate tapes or something you've got to collect, and every one you collect unlocks a clip or something that you can watch from the menu. I mean, there's unlimited possibilities here. But to what you were saying earlier, Mash, I think pretty much the full repertoire of skate moves or tricks rather are available here. But just like real life skating, it takes a while to learn that stuff, and you don't have to learn them all to play the game, which is really cool. You can take your ollie and you shove it and go through the go through the levels and get some mediocre scores, but the more you practice, the more the more your list of moves grows, and the better you get and the better your scores get. It's very similar. The learning curve itself is very similar to skating in real life.
Right.
Basically, is what I'm trying to say.
And it kind of goes along with what's against what Substatica says that they would prefer it be a little forgiving. It's pretty damn difficult. And I think that that's what this game is trying to deliver. They want it to be as realistic as possible, to the point where Wes, when he was telling me about the game, when he had gone into it, he said it feels like it would intuitively skating. Like, this is what it feels like to, if you've ever skateboarded, the moves are intuitive, right? And so they really want to make you feel like you're skateboarding. So it is more of a simulator than almost anything. And I guess in a way that's kind of cool, right? Like you're getting to really skateboard. I don't know that you could take this into real life and have it translate like other games that are Sims, but I definitely think it's cool.
I don't know. I kind of want to skate on my hands in real life, don't you, Eric?
Yeah, why not? Why not?
Who doesn't?
It's super fast too. Like, I was surprised with the speed of this and how fast you can get going on the skateboard. I really like the way they did the movement. I thought it was going to be like, I had a feeling it was going to be like slower and maybe a little more clunky, but I don't know. I wasn't in it for a ton of time, but I felt like I got things pretty quickly. And, I understood things pretty quickly. Like I said, I didn't get to maybe some of the more, intrinsic detailed tricks, but I was quickly doing, being able to move around the map, and, the way you move left and right, I thought was pretty cool. And, just the way you kind of like pull yourself along. I thought it was really well done with the controls.
But the soundtrack, Eric, it was pretty good music in this thing too, right?
Hell yeah. It goes right along with the game. It's perfect.
And it's very customizable. Like, literally, you can go into the music and you can select or deselect any, like, if you don't like a song or for whatever reason, you can just take it off the playlist, which I thought was pretty cool. I don't know if there was more than one playlist or not, but I think it had like 16 songs or something. So it was cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. Roots, as good as of a simulation as this is, one dude. This game comes to us from a one-man dev team. How crazy is that?
That is crazy, because I don't know who worked on that other game Mash was talking about, but it really wasn't that good. Like, I was expecting the same thing. I'm going to go into this game that is going to be somewhat mediocre, and it wasn't. It's actually difficult in a way it should be difficult, and a testament to the fact that, like, all these skaters in this video were impressed with it as well. And the PC version, I guess this has been out for a while on Steam, right? A couple of years or whatever.
Yeah.
And they've ported over the PC version. The only gripe that I saw in the comments were people were saying that didn't have enough content. They wanted more. But you were alluding to it the other day that they actually added more from that version, correct?
Oh, they have. It's got 6 different levels in it now, 6 different runs that you can go through. And get this, they're coming out with a DLC pack that adds 3 more tracks to it. And how's this for a deal? Anyone who buys the game now through like November, gets the DLC for free if they want to pay for it. Yeah.
I'll tell you what, the course, I only tried the first course. I didn't get unlock the others, but like you said, they're actually pretty elaborate courses looking anyway. So
yeah, and that's kind of goes back to what we were talking about a minute ago, Eric. There should be collectibles in this game, because even though the tracks are very linear, they're wide. It's not like you're on a rail or anything. It's kind of like a game like Farpoint, where it's a linear game, but it doesn't feel linear because the track that you're on is so wide, and there are multiple ways that you can go, even though you're ending up in the same place.
Yeah, I saw somebody in chat earlier was like, "Oh, can you only go in a straight line?" And you don't. You can move around, like you said. It's not like you can like completely take different trails or branches, but you can. It is wide, and you can go to different spots, and there's different things you can do from each different spot. So that's what I was kind of saying. It's like you kind of pull yourself with your right hand to get your speed going, and your left hand is your steer, and it's really intuitive too. Like, I didn't get far enough in the game, but it looks like there's races too, right? Like, where you can do like races or timed races through obstacle courses.
I think
I don't know if
think it's the same course. The courses that you do for the other stuff is just a downhill where you go through everything. Like, yeah.
I'm not sure if there's leaderboards or anything. Did you guys notice that?
I thought I saw leaderboards. I could have sworn I remember seeing something that looked like it was. It would make sense.
Yeah, certainly would make sense, and that kind of leads into kind of areas for improvement. Because a game like this, and it's very good. It's way better than I thought it was ever going to be. There are definitely things that they could do to make this one of the best, if not the best, VR esport or extreme sports games that we've ever seen. And I think at the top of that list, obviously, and we say this for almost every game, would be multiplayer support, right?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Having your friends in there would be amazing, especially if you're doing like looking for stuff or just like freestyle and doing tricks. And it'd be kind of cool to be doing different tricks and checking each other's tricks out or whatever. I think it'd be really cool.
See, that's kind of what I was thinking, Eric, is like, even if, even if it's just a spectator mode, to have your friends in there watching while you're trying to pull off some tricks, and then you put the board down or hand it to someone else and let them go for a little while. Again, just another way that they could recreate the real life experience.
Yeah, I think that would be super cool. I mean, again, yeah, I would love it that way where you could just kind of watch somebody. But how about like racing somebody like down through a course, or and then you it's who gets there first gets so many. You get points, but you also get points for the tricks that you do during the course. I mean, there's a ton of stuff that you could do in here that would just add more to the game. I'm thinking of like a game. If there was a PlayStation game, it was a downhill snowboarding game called SSX Tricky. And it was one of the coolest, most fun games you could do. And a lot of it had to do with doing tricks, getting down the mountain, doing tricks, but it's timed. So going through a course timed and then doing as many tricks where you can get as many points as you can, I think would be a freaking blast in a game like this.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And the other big thing I feel like this game needs, and it's weird to say because it's the production on it's so great. Like it's really, really impressive, especially coming from a one-man team. Well, first of all, how about this, Roots? Did you notice how well this game utilized PlayStation's or PSVR 2's features to kind of up the immersion, and specifically the way that the sound and haptics kind of work together? Like the haptics in this are very good. You can literally kind of feel the surfaces that you're skating down, and the sound that goes with that is kind of true to life. Did you notice that when you were playing?
I did. I guess I noticed that it sounded good, but and haptics, but and not as far as like on that level. Now it makes me want to go check it out again, for sure. Somebody, yeah, Looper says he heard that there's something called spectator mode in the settings.
Oh.
And Durbin Brown says they said leaderboards are coming in September on Twitter, he thinks.
Nice. Oh. All right, cool. So maybe there is a spectator mode and I just don't even know it.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
That would be cool.
Anyway, back to my original point, Eric. I feel like a game that is this well produced and so well simulates the real life skating experience. All it really needs is some recognizable imagery. Some faces that you may recognize, maybe put some pro skaters in here. Mm-hmm. When you go to the skate shop, you should be able to upgrade your board with brands that I'm upgrading my trucks. Let me get some Thunder trucks. You know what I mean? There should be Thrasher magazines on the wall. Like, everyone should be wearing Vans. Like, I think that this game should be. The quality level is good enough that this should be like, I mean, obviously if you're not going to make it a Tony Hawk pro skater, you could brand it some other way and kind of put the skate culture into this game to kind of bring it to the next level, I feel like.
Yeah, I think there's a lot you could do with this. I mean, different deck, you get different wheels, you could trick it out, different artwork on these things. You bring some you bring some branded stuff in, I think it would be amazing. Those things are never cheap and easy, but I mean, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, that's why Tony Hawk was, it was Tony Hawk #1, but the customization in that game was one of the greatest things about it and what you could do in it. So, we want those things in VR. So, I know it's the next logical step if you can do it in a game like this, because I think it has the gameplay. I just need some of the extras to kind of like get you into to doing it more.
Right. Something to make the skaters out there take notice of it, right? Some stuff that's going to catch their eye and have them take notice and maybe pick up their headset. Which I don't know if this game is coming to Quest 2 or not, so it might be a little bit of a barrier of entry for any skaters that potentially do discover this game. I mean, getting a PC, getting a PlayStation 5, it's kind of expensive. Hopefully, the developers are working on bringing this to Quest, because Roots, I don't see anything here that they couldn't do on Quest.
No, absolutely not. And it wouldn't even have to take a cut and graphically either. I mean, the game looks good, but it's not like it's surreal graphics, right? So,
right. So, Eric, that brings me to the last thing. We have an excellent game here that very time consuming if you want to get good at this and really kind of push yourself to the top of the heap in terms of scoring. High quality in almost every facet of this game with a $35 price tag. This is where I don't know, man. It's a high quality game, but I just don't know if the scope of this game is enough to kind of warrant that. It's not a premium price tag, but it's like a premium light, right? Like typically a $35 game in VR is a pretty top notch game. And I'm not so sure that this kind of fits into that category.
I mean, I think we're going to see it more with the PlayStation. I don't think we're going to see a lot of inexpensive games. So I think these games that are what I would consider high quality, I don't know how deep it is, again, because I haven't played that much, that deep into it, but I don't know. I think it deserves $35. Now, I mean, not to say that I wouldn't prefer it if it was less, but I think it deserves this money. I've seen games go for $40 that probably have more here. I mean, would it probably do better at $24.99 or something like that? Probably, but I think we have to get into the mindset that these games are going to probably go for $35, $40. And just hope that we are getting that we keep getting deeper games. That's all we can hope for.
Yeah, and I think that maybe that's my kind of issue with it. Maybe is, as good as it is, Roots, I still kind of look at this as one of those palate cleanser games. This isn't something that I'm going to be putting 4 and 5 hours a day into every day of the week. This is more like a game that I'm going to, I'm going to put down, Asgard's Wrath 2 after playing it for 4 hours, and I'm going to kind of wind down playing VR Skater for 45 minutes or something. What do you think about the pricing?
I think it's probably a little too high, but like Eric said, I mean, at some point, everybody, it's not even in just PlayStation. Like games have been like underpriced for so long, and it's not that I want to pay more for games, but like $24.95 would absolutely sell better. But I mean,
yeah, and I guess I should preface it by saying that when I'm judging these games, in terms of pricing, I'm kind of judging it against kind of what the norms and standards of the day are. I completely agree with the sentiment that VR games mostly are underpriced right now. So is the game itself worth $35? Probably. It probably is, maybe even 40.
Yeah.
But is this game on par with what most people would consider to be a $35 game by today's standards?
No.
That's where my questions come.
No, because you look at what other games can you get for $34.95 or $29.95? The scope of it, it just depends. Like, because it's a niche game, like how many skaters are out there?
It is kind of a one of a kind. I mean, the only kind of games we have like this are mostly on PC, and it's like skiing and things like this. We don't really have any good like BMX games or skating games or anything like that. So it does have that going for it. It is kind of a one of a kind game.
Tech wants to know, do you have legs in this game? It's a good question. I don't know that I ever really looked. I don't think so.
No,
No, because you
no,
don't see
there's
your
no
feet or
legs.
anything. Yeah, you just see the board.
Yeah, it's
It'd
just
be
the
weird.
board.
It would be so hard, I think, to do legs here. I don't think you could, because you'd have to have the physics of the board jumping and with your feet and leg. It would be difficult. It'd be cool, but I don't.
Yeah,
It would be tough
and
to pull off.
it would be purely a cosmetic thing, and they would have
Mhm.
to have perfect IK for it, and it would be hard, man.
Yep.
It would be hard to pull off. Um, I kind of lost my train of thought with this.
We were
I had
talking about the
another point.
pricing. You know.
Yeah, I don't know. Um, anyways, it's a really good game, especially for people who out there who have ever skated in their life before, or have even kind of been fans of the whole skater scene. Like I don't want to portray myself as someone who was a skater. I wasn't a skater, but I did skate a little bit when I was, in my late teens, early 20s. Um, but I hung out like my crew was a crew of skaters. So I basically was just trying to learn it because that's what they were all doing. But I spent days upon days upon days, hanging out watching these guys pull off tricks, and like I was very much a part of that scene. So I do get some nostalgia when I play something like this.
Who for the
Um,
Underground Gamecat said Operation Wolf. What was that? How much did that game go for? Well, how much was Operation
it
Wolf?
was like 30 or $35, wasn't
That's
it?
fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
That to me, that game to me upsets me because the game should never be that high. This game, I'm on board because of the way this game is and how cool it is. Like this is to me, I think this game could get 30 or 35 minutes should get it. Operation Wolf, and when I played through it in like 2 hours or 2.5 hours, I'm like, what the frig, man? And the game was no way $30 for that game. This game I would give it.
Scott, the PSVR Game Cat for Life, has a good point. Says if you buy it now with the DLC, it's worth it, and that's a good point.
That's true. That's a very good point, actually.
If you pick it up now while it's still on sale, you're getting that $10 for free. So
Good. That's a good point. I completely spaced
Mhm.
on that, but you're right. You're getting the DLC, so it's kind of like getting a bundle.
Yeah.
And when you frame it up like that, it probably is worth it.
yeah,
Good call, Scott. Thank you. Roots, did you try playing this seated at all? Like I didn't, because the way the game is, it kind of makes you want to stand and play it. But having played it and knowing how the controls work, I don't think you have to. I think you absolutely could sit and play this.
yeah. If you were in the right type of chair, because of the way you're moving your arms, if you were sitting in a chair that you got arms on the chair, it would get in the way. But you sit forward, right?
Right.
I did not, because the first thing it tells you when you get in there is if you're not standing, take your headset off and stand up. And I said, taking my headset off to stand up. I stood up and pushed my chair back. I like, why do I need to take my headset off? But I did listen to the directions. I kind of assumed that it would be better standing. But after, like you said, after playing it, I don't think it would have made a difference.
What do you think, Eric? You think that this would be say?
Tried it.
Oh, did you? How
Tried
did it work?
Yeah, well, because my play space is super small right now, so I mean, like I can't go very far. So I did it standing, and I had to like be careful where my stuff was because I kept hitting this rail behind me, because you're pulling like this with your hands, right, to keep yourself going. And I was like, I didn't want to hit my desk. I got my PlayStation right here. I get right behind me. I got these stairs. So I'm like, I need to like just kind of like stay in one area. And I know if I'm in my chair, I can't really move in my play space, right? So I got in my chair and I have arms in the chair. I just lowered them and it was fine. I did it for like, I don't know,
Nice.
maybe like 5 minutes that way until I was done. That's how I finished it up. So yeah, I think it
That's
was
great.
by no means do you have to stand, because you're basically just pulling like this with your arms. You're steering with this hand, and then you're using button presses for your jumps. So
I think they just want you to feel like you're on a skateboard. You know,
I mean, I
like-
had more fun when I was standing because I did feel like I was like on a skateboard. But if you
See,
don't want to stand,
I'm
you're
thinking
okay.
about it. I'm thinking about it from the perspective of accessibility. People who can't necessarily stand and play games,
Right.
are
100%.
they going to enjoy this? And I think if they can, that's awesome. Because imagine if you're in a wheelchair and you're never going to be able to experience what it's like in real life to ride a skateboard. Like would be an amazing thing for someone in that situation.
How do you play this game if you only have one arm though? Because you have to
That's a
have
good
one
question.
to steer and you have to have one to move, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
It
think you
would
could steer
certainly,
without it, right?
Yeah.
they would, I mean, they would have to put it in one-handed mode. I think it could be done. By
You could use the
make-
right thumbstick in some way.
Because what a shame to not be able to play a game that's about riding a skateboard. Now, you got two legs in real life. You can't do this game because your arm is missing. So
There's a couple of different ways they could go about it. They could use the right thumbstick for steering.
that's a good point.
First of all, or they could actually make it a little more realistic and use like kind of like something like what Golem did, where you kind of lean, because that's kind of what you do when you're in real life riding on a skateboard. If you want to turn left or right, you just kind of lean that way, and the board goes with you. They could make it so that you do that, and you just kind of lean in one direction or the other, and kind of move based on where your headset's facing.
Yeah. I
Anyway,
agree.
high quality game, a good price if you consider the DLC that you're getting with it, not that long down the road. And I had a good amount of fun in it. Very surprised at just how realistic the experience is. So if you don't mind practicing a lot to get good at a game, then this might be one that you want to check out on your PlayStation VR2. It's a very good use of the haptics, especially to kind of up the realism, and it's a great skate simulation for PSVR2.
What did you think about the high rise? I'm just kidding. I ain't fucking playing that long. You got to unlock all that stuff, right? That's a lot of unlocking. I don't know what level it was, but there's actually quite a bit of levels, like you said, that I scrolled through, and I was like, damn, there's a lot of good environments here. So
People were talking about wiping out in the chat in real life. Somebody said they got a fresh technical glitch. I did get a face rash once. By Lozix, I fractured my elbow falling off a skateboard. So there you go. You shouldn't be able to get hurt nearly as bad. I'm not going to say it's perfectly safe, but it should be a little safer to do it in VR.
yeah, if you give yourself a face rash in this game, I don't know what you're doing.
And people who bought the original Oculus Quest got a face rash.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Not
Sure.
really, but they wanted their free rubber gasket thing. So
That thing
or a
sucked.
free VR cover.
That free fee. The VR cover sucked, but the rubber plot thing that they gave you to put over it sucked. Like, I'm not big on anything that goes over. Like, I don't know. It's not good. No bueno.
There's so many mom jokes here, but I'm just going to let it go. Just going to let it go.
Just let it
And
float.
let's move right along into this month's Game of the Month discussion. July came and went. It was a relatively slow time for VR compared to some of the other months and some of the other games that we've gotten this year. But I don't know about you, Eric, but I kind of enjoyed the schedule slowing down a little bit this month.
Yeah, it was cool to be able to go and play some stuff that we wanted to play, do some stuff that we wanted to do instead of having to play whatever crappy game that they were jamming out there as fast as they could. So it was nice to take a break, play some cool things, go back to some things, get back into Switch back a little bit, get back into, play some Synapse, play some flat games, right, Roots?
Yeah, absolutely. Some Remnant 2, which is going to be coming to the Unreal Engine mod. The first one is listed as one of the games, so I don't see why the second wouldn't be. And we've already mentioned it several weeks in a row. The developers, I believe, started in VR and put out some of the best VR games I've played. So I can't wait.
Eric, we're going to have to get connected up to Roots' Steam catalog again so that we can play Remnant 2 when the Unreal thing drops. Huh?
Eric's
I'm
got it.
actually okay because I got a gift from Roots last night of Remnant 2.
What do you think?
I've
You're
been
better
playing
than me?
it.
You think you're better than me? Yeah,
I've been playing it.
I was playing. We were playing. Me and D were playing, and Jim and Mash came in and hanging out, and he said he just made the comment, "Well, if you bought it, I'd check it out or whatever." Just joking. I said, "Oh, it's on, dude." I get a chance to get Mash in a game that I'm enjoying and playing. I miss hanging out with Mash, and it's going to be. I mean, it's already an amazing game flat. I can't wait to play it in VR. It's going to be phenomenal.
Well, there we go. I'll just borrow Mash's copy because I am connected to his library.
There we go.
Absolutely. Well, you're at one point we're going to want to play together.
Yeah,
That's true.
Yeah,
I wonder if they'll ban.
play.
You think they'll ban us for that, for modding it, so that I can play it in VR?
No, because this is the thing. One, because they are VR people. Two, that the other one was modded into VR and they never did anything. And three, it's hosted on per each. Like if I start a game and I invite you and Mash, or you join my game, it's on my network. And so all of that is like, if it was going through their servers and all sorts of stuff, there's all sorts of weirdness. As far as I know, they're very mod friendly. And, you know, I think not GT, PD may have already reshaded it. I'm not sure, but.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm sure he tried. He tries everything. So
I know he's
shout
been
out
in
PD.
there. He's got it. So, yeah.
Yeah. Can I progress on my own and then bring my progress into a multiplayer game?
Yeah, absolutely. So everything's individual. You got your own progression in your worlds and everything else. But if you come into mine, you're still getting like items and progressions and helping in my world. But it's all tied together. Like it's none of it. You can play solo. You can play together. You can join up. You can. It all comes with you. The only thing that's different is because it's all procedurally generated. Like. Even to the point, like this is how deep this game is. I wanted to get this special ring that gives me a special type of dash instead of my roll, but I have to pair it with an amulet. Well, the ring part of it, I can only get in this one area, but it has to be during a blood moon. And so you go in there normally, and it's just 99% of the time, it's a regular time. You got to go, you're going back and forth between the main city, and it's procedurally generating and trying to hit that blood moon. So I could go in and I could do a puzzle. And this is where you're going to love it, Wes. The puzzles are intricate and crazy. And we had already done the puzzle and we had already gotten items, but it had me go back to this area, and the same area I got these two chests. Now I noticed there was a blood moon thing on the slat on the floor that opened up as soon as I went in that room, and I dropped down in there, and now that ring is in there. And it's just all the different ways you can build your like this ring, you can match it with 6 different amulets, and each one of them has a different type of build, a different way that gives you benefits. It's just super cool. They really nailed this game, and the developers are some of the coolest devs I've ever seen. Like 3 or 4 times now, they've came out in major announcements just thanking the community for being how awesome they are, and like you can tell they really care about their community. And you can't say that for a lot of developers these days. So.
Well, maybe I'll give it a look.
Yeah.
Have to. And I can play it on my Steam Deck.
Yeah.
I can play it when I'm traveling.
That's going to be cool as well. And it's one of the hardest fucking games I've ever played boss-wise, Wes. The bosses are ridiculous.
Well, I like a challenge. You know that.
Yeah, Jim Hall says it's not multiplayer, so they wouldn't care if you modded it. Yeah, there's no benefit to it. So
we're definitely gonna mod this. This is gonna be amazing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. Gonna play this in VR ASAP.
Yep.
Anyways, even though it was a very slow month for VR, that doesn't mean there weren't games. There certainly were some games, and we're going to start off by cataloging those that hit PSVR 2, as we typically do. And the first of which was B99 Overclocked, a game that somehow has lived on PCVR for years without us ever hearing about it, Eric.
I have no idea.
But here it comes, reborn on PSVR 2 with some new bells and whistles. This game was all right. I think kind of the story when we reviewed this, and it's still kind of the case, is that untapped potential here. Like this was a decent game that could have been good had a few things been done differently with it.
Yeah, it was just a meh game for me. The color palette is weird. I do like some of the things you can do in here, and the movement system's pretty cool, but man, it's just I don't know. It's like one of those games where you're like, man, just a little bit different here or there, and it could have made a huge difference in the game. But ultimately, I think it's just mediocre.
I think if people knew what the fuck was happening in there, like this, it's so bizarre. And I really want to like this game. There's so many things to like that I liked and enjoyed, but like generally most of the time I didn't understand what was happening or where I was going, what I was doing. I just was running around, and maybe that was just maybe I should have just done the tutorial. But it just, I don't know. It like you said, if it just did a few things differently, there's a lot to like about it. It just, to me, was not. It just did enough things not right that I didn't care for it.
Yeah, it didn't miss hard. Like it missed, but it just barely missed. Like there were some fairly small things that could have been changed about it. Mash mentioned the color palette, which I didn't mind the color palette. It is a bit primary, primary colors, um, but everything kind of looks the same, which made it difficult to kind of spot enemies. And some of the things they did fix, like they fixed the turn speeds, and they give it some quality of life improvements since we covered it. But still, I feel like this could have been a really good game that kind of those retro lovers of in VR would have really gotten behind had a few small things been done just a little bit differently. But I don't think it's bad. I think it's decent. Um, I'm not going to say I'll never go back in it again, but I think it speaks a lot that I haven't been back in it since. So we'll probably give it some time, and I'd be happy. I don't know if the developer will oversee this, but if you're interested in making this into a great game, I think it has so much potential. I'd be glad to tell you how to make it into a great game. It wouldn't take much. I think just a few months of development could make this something that people would really want to try.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it
Agreed.
reminds me a lot of Arcanade. If you remember, that game used to be
Hmm.
Arcade, but now it's Arcanade, and it reminds me a lot of that. But that game was better. Like, and it looked a lot alike. I mean, the way that this game kind of looks, but I don't know. It was something with the gameplay. I think in Arcanade 2 was just better for me than this game.
Yeah, I think I would agree with that, but it's primarily because of the gameplay. Like there's a lot I like about this more than Arcade, um, but the gameplay was definitely better in Arcade for
Mm-hmm.
sure.
Yeah.
Moving along, we already kind of spoke about Operation Wolf Returns First Mission VR, and we did kind of shit on it a little bit because of the price tag earlier. But I'm going to be honest. I feel like this is an underrated game. I'm not saying that it's great. I'm not saying that it's going to be a game of the year contender. But when I see people talking about this game in the communities, on the message boards, people talk about this game like it's complete dog shit, and it's not. It's a fun game. It's decent, right? I like this game better than B99 for sure.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Way.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, this is a good game. It's the price that's the problem. If this was $20 or $15.99, this game is great. I would recommend it to people because I had fun in it. But literally, it's quick. You can, especially on certain levels. I mean, you can, on difficulty levels, you can beat this game in 2 hours, 2.5 hours. You can fly through this game, and there's not a lot here. There's 3 different weapons, and you really only need one. You know what I mean? You don't really need a lot. I don't know. It's just what is here is fun for the time you're in it, but I just cannot see $30 for this game. That's the biggest problem for me.
Yeah, my biggest
It's
problem is I played a better version of it years ago that wasn't even from the actual people that made it. It seemed like they wanted to bring the game and bring it into VR, and these people, I mean, it's like the opposite, right? These people wanted to bring their original game into VR, but they didn't do all the cool things that you could do about like Operation Warcade does, right? And so I just was expecting the people that made the original to do it even better. And for me, they didn't. And it's the price tag, like you said. Even if this was $19.95 or $24, but really 19 or below, I mean, this game, I could say I could really get behind it. But how do you do that with the name, right? It's the name that costs so much money, and that, I guess, the acting, right? So
That's pretty smooth, isn't it? I mean, in terms of like polish, it's a pretty polished experience. I mean, it falls short in a couple of ways in just the kind of the game design aspect of it, but what's here is executed pretty well.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's a rail shooter. It's an arcade rail shooter. You know, pretty good. But speaking of produced well, we then move into the Room VR, A Dark Matter. Shout out to, who was it? Was it Looper that tagged me? I forgot to put this in because it doesn't show up when you go to the PlayStation Store and you click on PSVR2 and you list everything by release date. This didn't even show up, so I forgot all about it. And Roots, how could I forget about this game? This is one of the best, if not the best, escape room of all time in VR. This is a really, really great game.
Yeah, absolutely. But this was on the original PSVR 1, right? So this is a
That's
remaster,
true.
or I guess another version of it, better version. But yeah, it's definitely the best escape room VR game that I've played. Actually, it's better than most real escape rooms I've done in real life. So
yeah, it's really, really good. Eric, were you even around when we covered this game? Did you try the Room VR on PlayStation?
Yeah, I literally tried, just went in and looked to see what it looked like. That was all I had time to do, but I thought it looked fantastic. I played this game, a lot. I've done a lot with this game, giving away a lot of these games.
I think you haven't given enough away.
But it's really good, and I think it looks awesome. I'm glad that PlayStation now gets a chance to play it because it is probably one of the best out there. I love the genre of it. I love the way it looks. I love the way it plays. The puzzles are really well done. It's really, really good. I mean, save for the fact that Wander is probably one of my favorite games. This is probably one of my other favorite puzzle games.
Yeah. So good that I finished it. Like, I finished this game on PlayStation VR2. I didn't finish it before. Now, I'm not saying that it's like completely revamped and better on PSVR2 because it's pretty much a straight port outside of a couple of small implementations in terms of like haptics and things. It's pretty much the same game, but it's good. It was good enough that I finished it. I finished it on stream. Is that bad, Eric, that I spoiled this game for everyone by playing the last level live on
You
our,
gave them
on
so
stream?
many spoilers.
Yeah, it's been out forever.
Yeah.
if
new.
you're spoiling it now, I mean, it's new for PlayStation people, but man, if you're spoiling it now, I mean, it's been out for 5 years.
Isn't that funny when you talk about a movie that's been out for 10 years and somebody's like, whoa, spoilers. Like, dude, motherfucker, it's been out for a while,
Yeah. If you haven't watched it, you ain't ever going to watch it.
Yeah, at some point, like, or in this case, if you haven't played the Room VR, I mean, maybe you will. But that's why Wes gave people adequate warning. Like, hey, don't do this. Not only did you warn them in the stream, I think you even warned them before the stream, maybe even the episode before you were going to stream it. You gave several warnings.
I did do that. I did. But, it's interesting because the reason I did that was because I did originally stream this game from PC, and I played up until the last level when I streamed it there. So I didn't want to rehash any of that. I already have a video out there of me playing those levels. So all that was left was to do the end of the game. And I had fun.
Well, it's the same thing that Mash said. He went in there just enough to check it out and do whatever. I did the same thing. And when Dee was like, she would have played longer, I said, I've already played through these levels. Like, at what point am I going to play through the entire... I've already gone in and I've seen how good it looks. I've felt the differences in the haptics, the adaptive triggers. I know the difference. I don't need to replay the entire game to talk about a game I've already played through. So,
VR Spry Guy says, I'm waiting for Masher to buy me a copy of Room VR.
I think I made a promise that I'm never ever buying another copy of the Room VR.
You need to make that promise because it was getting a little out of control. I think the community was taking advantage of you, Mash.
There may be a few copies.
I have issue. My only issue, and this is completely off base, which is it's totally Roots. With Remnant 2 is I still haven't opened Super Mario Odyssey yet because I haven't. I've been playing through this game. I don't want to play anything else besides that except for the VR that we play. It's crazy.
Too many games.
Too many.
Anyway, an absolute masterpiece of a game, AAA quality. I would consider. I mean, Roots. It's pretty fair to say that if you're a fan of puzzle games, this is probably a must own, right? If you're a PSVR2 gamer and you like puzzle games.
Yeah, the only thing that caveat would be if you're like Scion. Scion loved, I guess, liked the game, but he prefers like really, really like missed type of puzzles. I know that this is the one game that I actually recommended for my dad, and I bought it for him, and he messaged me back and was like, "Yeah, you were right. This game is like really good." So I just think it's like I said, the best looking, the best puzzles of escape room games that I've played in VR. It just does a really good job. The production value, the story, or the individual stories of or however the things that's going on is super cool, and the sets, the set pieces, the environments, the different environments. I just really enjoyed it.
About
That's
time for a
great.
sequel. Like, where's the sequel to this game?
Yeah,
Well, they're
that's a
out
good
there. There's a lot of
question.
flat ones, right? Dee's played through like 4 or 5 of the rooms, and she really enjoys them. So I would imagine they're going to be bringing more to VR, right?
I mean, they had to do fairly well with this title, right? I mean, this is one of the. You got to think that they made money, right? Like, why wouldn't they bring another VR title?
It could still be selling. It's selling very
I think
well.
it is. But
Yeah.
I mean, it sold enough that they just said, let's put it on the PlayStation. You know, VR2. I mean,
Well, they
True
could be
that.
making it right now. They're in the
And it's a
process.
free upgrade for those of you who have it on
Which is
PSVR
awesome.
1. Is a free
Yeah.
upgrade. Yeah. Anyway, typically this would be a shoe-in for Game of the Month on PlayStation VR 2, but this was not a typical month, as there was another game that came out this month that you might have heard a little bit about. This game called Synapse from our friends at In Dreams. Eric, it's interesting because again, typically a game like the Room VR would be an easy winner of any game of the month, but I feel like Synapse is one of those rare games that do things that we've never seen done in a game before.
Yep, this is pretty much over. Sorry, Room VR. I mean, it's 100% going to be Synapse. But this is one of those weird things where I just bitched about a short game in Operation Wolf being like out of, it was a good game, but it was too short and didn't have enough in it. This game is not a super long game if you're looking to not play through it several times with the same thing. But the gameplay and what is here for the times it is like, it's like next level. It's like, if you're not going to be, it has to be like a game like Fract, or, think of another short game that, it has to be something special. If you're not going to have a super long game, you have to make something special about it. And to me, that's like what Fract was. Fract was a great game. It was so much fun that I wanted more. And Synapse is awesome. And the controls in Synapse are some of the best I've ever seen. And it's different than anything I've ever played. And that's what makes it special.
Yeah, and Roots, it's kind of odd because we talk about it being a short game, but it's not really. I mean, if you want to complete the story, it's not short. It's small. It's a small game. But I mean, it took me what 10, 11 hours to play through this. Like it takes a little while, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's disingenuous for people to feel. I guess they can feel however they want. I get it. But like games like Hades or other games are built the exact same way. You beat through it. And I remember when I first beat Hades and I told my friend, I beat it. And he laughed and he's like, no, dude, you didn't beat it. You just got through the first time. If the game makes you go through and it changes things up and gets harder, that's part of the game. If you don't want to choose not to continue, that's on you. If you want to say the game's not long enough, it's too repetitious, whatever. It is what it is. It's a 8 to 10 hour game or 12-hour game if you complete it as it's intended. And maybe that's not for you, but yeah, what makes this thing special, like Mash said, is it's unique. There's nothing like it. There's nothing that feels like this. The combat is the best combat I've ever felt. In the combination of different abilities, I think Skiva described it the best when he was talking about how like he played it through in like almost maybe it was one sitting, just like 12 hours straight or whatever, just fucking, because it's so addicting and getting all these moves and you feel like this badass superhero. And you could give me a game one example that makes you feel this way. You can't, because it doesn't exist. And so, like, I can't imagine any game at this point, unless it was on a completely different level, like Zach Brown level, that could even come close to beating this in a head-to-head game of the month.
And it doesn't just feel good to play either, Eric. I mean, it gets pretty friggin' intense at times, doesn't it?
It does. I mean, this is one of those games that you're going to be on the edge of your seat or standing. You're going to be just, it's nonstop action. Like these roguelites like this that push you through. There's not a lot of like just standing around waiting for something else to happen. It's constant action. It's constant energy. Everything makes you feel like a freaking badass in this game. And I don't know, when games do things like this, this is how I think you're going to feel when you go to play through like Crossfire Sierra Squad. It's going to be arcadey, but it's going to be fast, and it's going to be fun, and you're going to feel like a freaking badass. You're going to feel like you're unstoppable in certain spots. But it's still going to be hard, and it's still going to be difficult, and it's still going to be challenging. This is the gameplay loop that brings you back for these types of games. And it's so well done. It's one of the best games I've played this year.
Agree. And I think we're going to look back up on it fondly. Like, I feel like, even though it's kind of mixed right now with, some, not all, not even most, but a couple of reviewers giving it like 7 out of 10, this sort of thing. And, of course, as is usually the case, there are a group of people in the community that kind of follow that line of thought. I feel like a year from now, unlike a game like Fract, we're still going to be talking about Synapse and looking back on it even more fondly than it's even kind of been received today.
Yeah, but I wish they would have had more skiing, or any skiing.
Yeah.
That was so awesome in Fract, right?
Let's go play your VR skater, bro.
That's right. Oh, fuck. What am I thinking, dude?
There you go.
Anyway, I don't think there's much room for debate here. The Room VR is great, but Synapse is in rarefied air of being kind of an originator of a genre almost. I do think we will see games in the future like this, but this is always going to be the first.
Yeah.
Yep.
Synapse, PSVR2 Game of the Month for July 2023. Synapse. Let me go ahead and note
life.
this.
Mr. Lord Beavis says, I can't wait for Crossfire. I can't either. I'm just looking forward to a really good campaign shooter. And I said this is the third time now. Like, I really used to enjoy the Call of Duty campaigns. Like, and I'm talking way back in the day, or OG Modern Warfare 2 or whatever. When you had these campaigns that were kind of the bulk of it, and the multiplayer was secondary, right? And then they kind of started getting to shit, and then they weren't as good. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Moving along to Meta Quest 2. We did see a similar number of releases out on Quest 2 this month. Not a lot, but there were games. Starting, of course, with a game that we already talked about, Operation Wolf Returns, First Mission VR. I don't want to rehash the whole segment again. We just talked about this game, but pretty much everything that we said about it applies here. Although, I mean, having not played the Quest, I'm sure, Eric, that playing it on the Quest, we probably would miss the haptics and triggers that we enjoyed on the PSVR 2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean that's a big part. I mean, especially when you're talking about a shooter game, I mean that's a big part of it. For the PlayStation VR2. So I did not play it on Quest. I would assume it looks the same because it's not graphically a crazy looking game. I mean, it's very well. It looks cool, but I mean, it's not. I think it plays fine on the Quest too. But yeah, I think you're gonna miss some of the haptics here. Do we know, is the price the same on the Quest too? I don't know that.
I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah. Well, let me verify that.
Yeah,
I
It might be $5 cheaper.
possibly.
Maybe.
I mean, that would make a difference to me if it was definitely cheaper, but I don't know if $5 would matter.
In just a second, and I'll confirm this for you.
I mean, I know there are some that you're paying. Some charge more because you're paying that PlayStation premium price, but there's not a lot of them are kind of the same now. All of a sudden, you'll see. But
Okay, so it's $25 on
Yeah, $24.99.
Quest. Let me see what it costs on PlayStation. I was thinking this was $30 or $35 game.
Maybe it's not. Maybe it's. I mean, at $24.99, it's definitely. Wow, it's got a 3.7 rating on the Quest store.
You don't see that very often, do you?
No, and it only has 14 ratings and 9 reviews.
Wow, that's super low.
Terrible. Wow, nobody's even trying this game.
Well, that's what kind of goes back to what I said a moment ago. I feel like it's underrated. People are shitting on it like it's garbage, and
Yeah.
it's not. It's a decent game.
No, I like it. Again,
At $25
$24.99 is still a little high for me. Like at $14.99, I recommend this game.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
I think you should. Everybody should play it. Like it's a good game. It's just, I think it's priced incorrectly.
So I have to open up a private window because I own the game on PlayStation.
Why do they do that?
I don't understand what they do. Half of
Yeah.
what they do.
So
Anymore.
yeah, it's $30 on PlayStation. It's $25 on
Yeah,
Quest.
so they got that
So-
$5 bump.
Apparently, the haptics and triggers are worth $5. I agree with that, by the way. But I would say, it should be 15 on Quest and 20 on PlayStation.
Agreed.
But yeah, so again, we don't want to rehash the whole segment out. It's a solid game. It's not great, but it's definitely worth playing. It's a little overpriced. Moving along to Battle Bows. Now, this is the sole game on this month's list that we did not play. I have not played Battle Bows. So we can, if someone in the chat really wants to go to bat for this one, we will hear you out. For what it's worth, the developer did reach out to us when this game launched to see if we wanted to cover it. And I looked at it and said, it's a cartoony tower defense archery game.
I absolutely want to cover it. Just let me get in my time machine. I'll go back to 2016 and I'll check it out and I'll be like, this is fucking awesome. Kind of reminds me of
Elven Assassin.
Yeah, or kind of reminds me of what was that the free Vive thing, right? Where you kind of were shooting at the castle and things coming. Although I guess it's more like a Warlords type of thing, right? From Atari, where you got 4 different people attacking each other. I don't know what the hell's going on in this game. It looks different. So
look, for what it's worth, cartooniness aside, it doesn't seem like it's super cheap looking or anything. It seems well produced. It is a co-op game where you're using archery to kind of defend your castle, and it might be fun. I did respond to the developer, mid last week to try to get keys so that we could try it out, and I guess my message must not have hit home quickly enough because we never heard anything back from them yet. But having not played it, I think that this is probably a okay game to play as like a party game, casual party game with friends. Game of the month, I'm not so sure. I guess it kind of depends on what else came out. I certainly think it could potentially challenge a game like Operation Wolf, because it does have co-op multiplayer in it. That alone is enough to kind of get my attention a little bit. But I guess we'll never know, or at least we won't know in time to, include it in the context of this discussion. But I did want to bring it up. It's a $20 game. It's out on Quest and PC right now. And I think it may even be coming to PlayStation VR2 as well. So certainly more to be said on this game in the coming weeks and months.
It's got some good ratings. It's got a 4.3 rating, 49 ratings, 29 reviews, and got some 5-star ratings. Here we got a 1-star. 1-star rating. Oof. Gets boring quickly.
Yeah, that's the kind of the thing about these type of wave shooter games, right? They can be fun for a little while, but this is the type of game where they expect you to come back and do the same thing multiple times to try to move yourself up the leaderboard type of deal. So
no,
yeah.
Not for me.
No, but there is a lot of good reviews out there. I mean, a 4.3 ratings is pretty good on the store. 49 ratings. I mean, there's the one I'm looking. I see 1-star, but there's a lot of 5 stars, a lot of 4 stars.
Mepper says Paradise Decay did a video on it and seemed to be having fun and especially the multiplayer. Well, the multiplayer is all about who you're playing with. If they're fun to play with, and as long as the game's not dog shit, you're gonna have more fun, right? So, for sure.
So who knows? I mean, if they send us a key, I'll be glad to look at it, and
Mhm.
maybe it's good.
I bet
Maybe
your
it's
kids
good,
would
but
like it. Looks like a really good kids game.
Yeah.
Right?
Again, $20. I don't know. Seems a little, high for $20. $10, $9.99.
maybe there's 50 levels. We don't know.
That could be. 30 hours of gameplay. Let's go.
Anyway, typically we would be struggling with the fact that we didn't play this game, but typically we wouldn't be talking about Uperdegrad 2, The Lost Station, which did launch this past month onto um, MetaQuest 2. And what can I say, Roots? If you liked Uperdegrad, you're going to love Uperdegrad 2, right?
Yeah, this game is Jupiter Grod 1 plus so much more. I don't know. I thought the first one was really good. The scale and scope of this one completely is way bigger, and it's more open world feel than the other one. Felt a lot more linear, and there were several times I actually got lost because this place is pretty damn big, and
It's massive.
it's massive. You know who loves it when it's massive, Wes?
My mom.
Yeah, and not only that, but it's fucking hard, man. If you like hard platforming, and the movement style there's really not anything like it. I mean, there's ones that are similar for different games, and each game fits a different feel, but this one is unique, just with the propellers and the way that you can adjust as you're swinging and go like retract it in your swing. Like, I don't know, it's very the movement is the best thing in this game. It's super cool.
Eric, this game's so challenging. There were parts in this game that I actually questioned whether or not I would be able to ever get through it. Like, I'm like, I don't know that I can do this. Like, it's that hard sometimes, right?
It gets frustrating, actually, a little bit. Some of it gets, and then you're having to do things over and over and over again. It does get a little frustrating. I do like the game a lot. I think it's really good. I've been testing this game for a long time. So I've been playing this game for like 6-8 months, I think. So it's really, really good, but it is hard, man. It is a challenging game. I want challenge in these games.
Yes.
You know what I mean? We don't have enough, I think, of these hard, kind of like, it's not a platformer, but it almost feels like that with some of the ways you have to get through the level and like, progressing, it's like an obstacle course or however you want to call it. But, then the shooting comes in. I don't know. There's a lot to this game. I think if people just kind of like look at it and go, "Oh, it's cartoony. It's not for me." I think it's kind of lost on people. But I think they need to get in and try it.
You're doing
Agreed.
yourself a disservice, for sure.
Absolutely.
Agreed. And if you're looking at this saying it's just more Uperdegrad, that's not true. Like, it takes what Uperdegrad did well and builds on it in a pretty big way. The game is structured differently. There's combat now. It's a bigger game in terms of the different elements of the gameplay loop. It's a true sequel. Like, that graphically it looks the same, but in every other facet, this is a definite true sequel. It's a graduation of what Uperdegrad was.
BC wants to know where the PC version is at. Love Jupiter Grod 1. Do we have a time frame when it's coming to PC, or is it?
Well, the PC version is in this mythical, magical place that some people have heard of and others haven't. This place is called the Oculus Rift store.
Wow.
So it's not on
this-
Steam, huh? That's kind of weird, huh?
This is a cross-buy title. It's currently available on the Rift store. You can play this on PC right now if you have a Meta headset.
So it is not on
Or
Steam?
Revive.
Is it not on Steam, or? Because I know the first
Not
one
yet.
was... Okay.
It's coming to Steam. It's coming to Steam. It's coming to PlayStation VR2. It's just not out yet.
Yeah. Yeah. Super cool. Definitely worth playing. And would definitely run away from with the run, right? There's another game we're talking about as well.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like, when I put this list together, I thought Uperdegrad 2 would be a shoe-in, but then T for God also launched this month. This game has been in early access for a long time on Steam, as well as MetaQuest App Lab, where it currently lives. This is an App Lab title. Many App Lab titles don't get nominated for Game of the Month, most of them because they suck. But Eric, this is a good App Lab title. It's really good, isn't it?
pretty good. Pretty good. I had to go back in tonight because I played this. I played this game for a long time. It's been around for a while. But I wanted to go back in again tonight because I was like, I don't know what my decision would be, and I had to go back in just to give it a little bit more time to like help me with my decision. And it's a good game that I think everybody should try. Pretty good.
How
Did you play it?
What
I'm
was
sorry. Go ahead.
so I was just going to ask if the difference with your play space, because I imagine today it would be a lot different with your smaller play space. And Wes
Had to use the thumbsticks.
Yeah, Wes kind of touched base on it. Like if it's a small play space, it feels after a few minutes, it just feels like you're running in circles, right?
It does. I ended up having to use my sticks because it was.
I
it
prefer.
wasn't-
Yeah, I prefer you playing this game with the thumbsticks. I think this is a cool game, but it doesn't do the procedural maps the same way that Eye of the Temple did. The Temple would put you in a large level that you could see far in, and the floor kind of moves to move you through the level. This puts you in corridors, and moving through it naturally in your play space literally makes you walk in circles. And whereas you kind of never felt um like you were moving in any kind of circles in Eye of the Temple, it's absolutely noticeable in T for God. So I like this game a lot because it's cryptic, because it's pretty deep in terms of the gameplay loop and has huge maps. But the whole kind of gimmick of the procedural level generation in the game and having procedural room scale, I guess I should call it. I didn't really care for that all that much in this game.
We are
I prefer,
100% on the same thing here because that's why I think it's just okay. I think they like if you did it like I had to do it today and just do it as a cool game to go play in and do like a kind of a shooter and like getting through these things. It's super cool and the story is cool and I actually like the vibe of the graphics. Like I think it's gotten a lot better too over the last year or so. But I think them trying to do the room scale, you can it's almost like where it's not a gimmick in the other game, Eye of the Temple, it feels like a gimmick here. Like it feels gimmicky and it feels like they tried to do too much with that instead of just letting the game speak for itself, which is a freaking crazy good game. Like I came out of it going, I don't want to make another turn down another corridor. Like I give me a little bit more open world. Let me just move around normally. Like I want to come and see some of these. Like you get outside and you look around, and it's freaking cool, man. It's like it's got some of the best graphics that I've ever seen. Like because I think it's like an art style.
It's like the best worst graphics, right?
It is
because it's like super basic. Like you could run this game and it would look the same on a Quest 1, but it looks good though, right?
Absolutely, and like I said, some of those spots when you get outside and you have these huge ships flying around, and then you look out, or you're going like speeding across the desert. It has a cool art style to it that I really enjoyed. And then I just found myself, in these corridors being like, I don't want to turn another corridor. Like I enjoyed it when I was doing these other things. So I just think if they took that part out of it and let the game speak for itself, I think it would have been really cool. It would have gave you more vibes of like, a Vertigo 2 or something like that, you know what I mean? And now it just seems like it was more of a gimmick to do the room scale.
I agree with that. I wholeheartedly agree with you on that. Roots, what I really like about this game though, it's unique, right? There aren't many games like this. Movement aside, I'm not even talking about that anymore. I'm just kind of talking about not only the world that you're in and the story that you're playing through, but just the structure of the game is unique. And it's so multifaceted that there are two very different game modes that you can choose to play right up front that kind of change how the game plays in a fundamental way. I think it's again, for this to be coming from a dude, you know what I mean, a guy, is just an amazing accomplishment and a whole lot of game for App Lab.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, there's not any games that I know of that actually gives you options like they do on how you're going to play the game, right? What type of game do you want this to be, type of thing. And I think it's really good for what it is, Like I enjoyed my time in there. It's definitely unique. And I never tried it with a joystick, but I think that's how I will try it next time, because I did try it in a small space and it was exactly what you said. Somebody was it Looper, the Underground Game Cat, has a good point. It says, "Is Eye of the Temple even procedural?" And that kind of goes to what you're talking about, right? This is so that it's unique in that way as well. So
Yeah, I don't think Eye of the Temple is not. Well, I mean, it not in the way that we tip. It's not a roguelike. It is
right.
procedural. It's not a roguelike. It's procedural in the idea that the levels are generated uniquely to your play space.
Mm.
It's procedural in that
Right.
sense, but it's not a roguelike where it's scrambling the map every time that you start the game over. It's not. So yes, it is technically procedural, but no, it's not a roguelike type game.
Yeah.
Samson 143 VR coming through with the $5 donation. Just finished up some Synth Riders, about to circle back and catch the whole show. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday to you, Samson. Thank you for your ongoing support, brother. You are awesome. We very much appreciate it.
Hey, before you leave, let me tell you who won the PlayStation VR. No, just kidding. I won't spoil that for you, Samson.
It's okay to have spoilers if you
Yeah, it is.
if you give warnings, right?
Yes.
Like
yes.
like Scion says, if you're watching a puzzle game stream, you should expect spoilers, but you should especially expect them if I spend 30 minutes telling you that spoilers are coming.
Right. Absolutely. And yeah, I mean, you're watching a stream of any game. Are you not going to get spoilers? Like, what are you watching a gameplay stream if you don't want to see gameplay spoilers? That to me is a little bizarre.
I want to watch the same 15 minutes over and over and over again.
Yeah, who doesn't? It's the first level, right?
Yeah. Who doesn't?
Everyone loves that first level. They all play the first level, but they don't even play it cold. Like they go in and they practice the first level and get good at it, and then they stream it like it's the first time.
Wow, it's just
fakes,
just
phonies.
shows you
They
what,
are.
what's
Bullshit.
important to them. Like I think authenticity and genuine reaction trumps all of it. So
Yeah, the reason why I won't do a stream like that is the same reason why I won't stream a game like VR Skater, because I won't practice it first, and I know if I ever stream that game, it's going to be just me crashing over and over and over and over again.
Well, here's a scenario where it would be cool is like you really dig VR Skater and you just put enough time to where you're actually getting good. Then you go in and you're showing off to your stream.
Oh yeah,
and
a year from
that'd be
now
cool.
that
Yeah.
might happen.
Nice.
Because there's not going to be many people that could, if you get really good at it, I bet you could get a good following of people even just streaming it, like just general people. People want to see people play games well. So.
Yeah, it's a little bit different in a game like that though, because when you get good at it, like it's not like getting good at a game like Vertigo 2 and you're just running through shooting enemies. Like you're doing tricks, exhibition pieces in VR Skater. So it's meant to be you're meant to show off when you get good at it, right?
Yeah, true. Absolutely.
I could even say the same thing for like Synapse, like getting good at that game and then going back and doing a stream where you're just doing this crazy like shit, throwing guys around and
Speed
shooting them
runs.
in midair. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot.
I've got enough footage of that game. I could probably do a 30-minute highlight reel that would just be amazing if I had time to edit it.
There's a lot of people that love watching speedruns.
Scion says some would argue that Talos Principle is the best VR game puzzler, the best VR puzzler. I've never played Talos Principle, even still. It's in my library. I've never touched it, and I probably should.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Yeah, I agree with MASH in the respect that because of the overall package, story, production, everything, Wanderer to me is like the best puzzle game I've played because it's just like it has everything, So
Wanderer is very good for sure. Mickey Barrios doing what Mickey Barrios does, dropping dirt rally keys in the chat. Grab it, quick.
yeah, and tell that fucker to
Thank
get
you,
out of the
Mickey.
car, please. Stop yelling at me.
Thank you, Mickey. Mickey's been dropping keys left and right. Operation War Katie dropped a few minutes ago.
Wow. That was a good one.
Wacky Wings VR.
Yeah, I wanted to see what's Wacky Wings. I'm torn between Wacky Wings and President Erect. Sorry. One of those two I need to add to my library.
So anyway, guys, I'm a little bit torn here because two very different games, Jupiter God and T for God. Um, they have there are things I like about both of them, particularly the level of challenge. Like they're both very difficult games to play, and I like them a lot for different reasons. Um, Jupiter God 2, I feel like, is a bit more palatable to the masses. I feel like T for God is a bit more of a specialized group of people that are going to like it. So for that reason, I kind of lean toward Jupiter God 2 here, Roots, but I feel like the two games in terms of quality level are on a very similar tier to
Yeah.
me.
Well, they're both very, like you said, on a similar tier. I kind of lean more a little bit towards Jupiter Grot as well, just because of my thing. But you're forgetting one, Wes. We just went into that one before the show. Mini golf Aeons. Wasn't that
Well,
on
we're
us?
not there yet. We're not there yet,
Oh.
Roots. That's you're
Well, I
getting
thought
ahead
you
of
were
yourself,
making the
brother.
case for between the two, which one was going to be game of the month.
I am on Quest 2.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Never. Well, yeah, I guess. Why is that? I got that in the wrong category then. That's why.
Yeah, that'll do it.
That'll do it.
That'll do it.
Roots. Spoilers, bro. Spoiling
I
the
was,
show,
well, I'm
man.
just really excited about that game.
I don't blame you. I'm excited about it as well. Now we'll get to mini golf ions in a minute. We have to determine what is the Quest 2 game of the month. Um, Eric, what do you think? I mean, again, neither one of these are probably going to be up for game of the year. But in terms of game of the month, I feel like they're on a very similar tier in terms of quality.
Yeah. I like T for God. I like the game itself. I'm not crazy with their movement system. I'm glad they have a thumbstick movement system because it's definitely the way I would prefer to play it. But to me, I just think, the whole package with Upergrad 2 is just better. Like the movement system's amazing, the gunplay is amazing, the puzzles, getting through these environments is like, again, it can be like super challenging. It can be, but when you get through it, you get that like enjoyment of, damn it, I just made it. That's freaking awesome. And you don't get that out of games a lot anymore, especially VR games. So I don't know. I like that. I like Upergrad a lot. I will go back to T for God though, because I do like the story and I like the overall look of it, and I want to get deeper into it. So now that I can feel better thumbstick movement with that game, I will go back. But I think I'm going to vote for Upergrad too here.
What are your
Yeah,
thoughts about Onakazi saying he did T for God in the backyard, turned off his guardian and had a 16 meter by 16 meter play space, walked 1.8 kilometers in that session.
Nice.
I bet if you played the game that way, the way it was probably intended for like a huge play space, it would probably be amazing, right?
I think so. And this is something we kind of touched on when we covered T for God. Is I feel like when you put it in the stick mode, what it does is it expands the game out to what would be the maximum play space size that it supports. And I think if you had a real life play space that was that big, that all of a sudden this mechanic, which very much is a gimmick for most people, actually has some value to it. So I could see it being really cool in that particular scenario.
Now I want to try it.
Don't play VR outside, Roots.
I'm afraid to take my headset outside. When people do that shit, I'm like, man, dude, have you not read the lenses and the warning and seen pictures? I guess you don't see them as many of people burning the lenses as much, right? Or do we? I don't know. I haven't seen them.
I don't know. It seems weird to me because I mean, there's so many cameras on these headsets these days. You think a beam going in the wrong one, like you would have to have very specific conditions to even attempt something like that, where it would have to be an overcast day. And even at that, I don't know if you guys have ever been outside before, but sometimes water falls from the sky,
Oh, no way.
and
I've
it's
been
typically
outside a couple
overcast
times.
before it happens. Yeah.
Well, and not only
So it's-
that, but even an overcast day, you can get a sunburn, which means you could probably get, I don't know, I guess if there's not a direct beam to come through. I just don't want to chance it. And it kind of makes me sad because like at what point are we going to be able to do mixed reality, like a Pokemon Go type of thing, where you would actually feel comfortable being outside in a headset and are allowed to, right? So
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure the day will come, and then the wizards at Meta will, figure out the technology to the point where you don't have to worry about stuff like that. But I don't know, man. I mean, I guess I could go out in the yard. I've got space here, and I could do it, but I've never been compelled to. It's hot out there, and water falls from the sky sometimes,
Yeah.
so I don't like it. Onakazi did it at dusk, so he basically just waited until the sun moved. It was a sunny, clear day, but he waited until the sun made its way past the horizon and then went out. So
And
I
then
guess
you're
that makes
set.
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But water can still fall from the sky sometimes.
that's
Allegedly.
true. Sometimes.
Yeah, allegedly. Yeah.
All right, so I think I'm going to go with you guys. You had a good point, Eric. While these are both very good games, there are things that Grod does that it's the best at. Like T for God can't really say that I'm the best at X, Y, or Z, where Grod is arguably, and it is arguable, but it is arguably the best in terms of grappling movement, for example. And that's not to mention the awesome, like large Metroidvania map that it puts you in, the swarm-like combat that you encounter from time to time, and some pretty decent puzzles. It's a good, solid title that's certainly going to be more palatable, even at its high difficulty level, is going to be more palatable to casual gamers. So yeah, I think Grod 2 is the solid choice here. The chat agrees by a 2-to-1 clip. So Grod 2 is the MetaQuest 2 game of the month for July. Congratulations,
Nice.
Game Dust. Winner, we have a winner. I'm recording said winner. Boom, there we go. All right, now we move on to PCVR, and you don't have to go through each one of these games routes. I'm just going to read off the first two really quickly here. We've already talked about Battle Bows and the fact that we haven't played it yet. It did come out on PCVR as well. Again, if we get keys to this week, maybe we take time to give it a look. Depending on it's going to be tough though, Eric. Stopping our Uncharted 4 a thon
For battle bows.
to play Battle Bows,
Yeah,
right?
that's what it's yeah.
For battle bows. Yeah, that's gonna
Maybe.
happen.
Maybe it'll be hard. You know who loves it when it's hard?
My mom!
She prefers it.
Oh yeah.
She does, especially when it's a 4-player co-op. She
Yes.
loves the 4-player co-op.
Yes. Who doesn't love 4-player co-op when it's hard? Oh, yeah. We talking about the same thing here?
Yeah, I think we are. Operation Wolf Returns First Mission VR. Again, we talked about this on the other two platforms. Everything that we said holds true here. It's going to look very similar graphically on all platforms. PSVR 2 gets the slight nod based on the haptics and adaptive triggers. Certainly, PSVR 2 is the way to play this game, but it's going to be very comparable on all platforms. And then we move on to Roots' favorite game, Mini Golf Eons. This game came out this past month on Steam VR. Roots, we have often said, wouldn't it be great if we had Walkabout Mini Golf, only instead of cartoony graphics, we had realistic graphics? Well, here we have a mini golf game that does have realistic graphics, but Walkabout Mini Golf, this game is not.
No, and it's the thing. And this is actually a pretty cool game in its own right. I mean, the first course is free. But like Walkabout Mini Golf, it like what they do special is it really feels like legit miniature golf on every level. Like the course is included. Like when you go to play putt-putt or whatever, they got these unique courses, right? You got different things to go through and tunnels and all these things. And granted, some of these, as you go along in the DLC, there is more of that. It's just not as much. And I don't know, like what Walkabout does the best is their physics and the way everything feels. I can look at a hill and I can predict where it's going to come down and how it's going to come down. And it's so real to life. and this was not that. Like sometimes it seemed like it was really good at rolling, and then sometimes it would just stop on a hill. And I'm like telling Wes, I don't know why that stopped. Like it should have kept going. So, but there might be something we can dial in with the what was it the friction? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but it's pretty cool in its own right, I guess.
Yeah, it's decent. Eric, I feel like this game has potential. This feels like an early access mini golf game, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, if you're making a mini golf game, I mean, you got to know that most likely you're not going to be able to beat Walkabout Mini Golf, and you have to like do something different. And they try that here with the graphics. They're trying to do as best they can to make them, fairly, more realistic looking. And they do have some cool environments.
Yeah, it looks good. For like if we're just judging it on visuals alone, it looks pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure. And I think what we talked about earlier was, I don't think you're ever like, well, do I get this or Walkabout Mini Golf? I don't think that's what they're thinking that you're going to do, and I don't think that's what you should do. I think if you own Walkabout Mini Golf, or if you don't, you should go get it, and then you should like do this one also. Like I would recommend that you maybe go get this, and see.
It's free.
Yeah, it's free for at least one course.
I mean, let's talk about that for a minute because we say it's free, but it's kind of not free. I think the more appropriate messaging for this, rather than saying it's a free game with DLC levels, there's a demo out there and the game costs $12.
Right.
Right?
Yep.
And there's only 4 courses, and that would be the biggest thing I would say. You need more courses. The more, it doesn't need to be zany, that's the thing. Like, I'm not even a fan of big zany courses, just to be crazy. The courses just need to be cool. The holes need to be cool. It was like they focus so much on the environments, and the holes are like, they're just what they are. They're just, after playing such elaborate holes in Walkabout, they just seem very
right. There's no moving parts in this. Like
No.
even if you go play mini golf in real life, you're gonna have to get around a windmill or something, to make it to the hole. This is more like it's not full-fledged golf, but it's not mini golf either. It's like medium golf. Like it's almost like playing real golf on a miniature course, but the courses are way bigger in this than a typical mini golf course, which Eric subsequently is one of the things I like about this game. I like that the courses, each hole, is 100 yards, so to speak, instead of 20.
You know what would be cool with this game? Give me a pitch and wedge and a putter.
right.
And give me you're right, because the length of some of these holes are pretty cool. Give me some obstacles where I'm not just putting. If you want to be different than Walkabout, and you give me a chip and a pitch and wedge, or let me chip the ball to where you can get some loft under the ball, and then like Kai just said, pitch and putt. Make it a pitch and putt game. That would be cool. Let me go over some of the water, with a chipper, and then let me putt, when I need to putt, and then put some cool, ideas around that. Make, make some obstacles that you have to chip over or around, and then you got to putt around stuff. I mean, to me, that's the only way you're going to make yourself different than like Walkabout Mini Golf, because I do like the look of this, and I like that it does have some length to it. It's not these super short holes, so, yeah. That's the way I would do it.
I think the only really big minus for this game, like it's a solid game, and there are definitely things to improve. I would have put a little more variety in the courses and some more obstacles and that sort of thing. The only super negative is what you touched on, Roots, and that is the physics. And it's not even that the physics are bad. It's just that the gravity is kind of dialed down a little bit. And what you're saying is true, is you're trying to kind of adjust for these changes in elevation on the course, but the ball isn't quite rolling as much as it should roll. Like it'll roll kind of in the right direction that it should roll, but it'll stop on a hill sometimes, and even when it comes down the hill, it doesn't quite roll as far as you would expect it to roll. So I feel like this is something that they could dial in. But it's kind of the biggest negative of playing the game is that it doesn't feel like the ball is always doing what it should do.
Right. I think another big negative that I could point out, and even though it is great to have co-op, it doesn't have multiplayer. Like we couldn't play all three of us together. It was just me and Wes.
That's right. That's
And
right.
whereas Walkabout just added more to where you can now 8 people or something ridiculous.
Yeah, 8.
And I'm not saying you got to go 8 people because I'm sure that server wise that costs more, but at least 3 or 4, right? But
4 would be good. Yeah, you would need 4
Hmm.
in here. I feel like make it more like a real life mini golf experience.
2's
4
weird.
player.
yeah, 2 is
Now, I will say this for its credit, and something that this game does that Walkabout doesn't do. If you have the full version of the game, which again is $12, you can do local multiplayer with one headset. So it's my turn. I go. It's your turn. I hand you the headset. You go, which is pretty cool. If you're someone like me who has other players under the same roof, but you don't have multiple headsets to play with, that's a pretty cool option to have.
right. That's one of the things people take for granted is you just have extra headsets laying around. Not everybody has more than one, right? But they have a
That's
full
right.
family of people that want to play. Although, spoiler alert, if you have more than 2, you're gonna have to do a separate game or something. So
Right. So it's pretty cool. I feel like it could be better, and I feel like it wouldn't take much. It's kind of like the B99 overclocked golf games. Like it wouldn't take much to make this a pretty compelling game. It's at a pretty fair price point, although I do agree with Roots. 6 or 8 courses I feel like would be more appropriate for the price. I feel like see, it's cool that they give away the first course for free, but I don't feel like the first course is a good accurate representation of the game. The first course is super basic. It just seems like a regular golf course. There isn't much in terms of scenery. Um, it's just pretty. I mean, Eric, the free course is pretty vanilla, isn't it?
Yeah, it's super vanilla. That's why I had gone in before you guys, and I had played through the first 2, and I'm like, make sure you guys go into the second course because the first course is so boring with the way the holes are. I mean, there's a few, there's almost nothing different. The second course, which you do have to open them up to play them, by the way. You can't just open them all up right away. You do have to play them. But I think the second course is definitely way better. Like they should have gave that course away for free to explain to everybody what the game was really going to be about. Because that free
give people
course is just so crazy bland and plain.
Right. I would have preferred that they gave people like 4 or 5 holes of one of the good courses versus giving away the whole beach course, or at least make the beach course a little bit more visually appealing than what it is, because it's super plain and bland, and again, not even just the scenery, but the courses itself. The holes are pretty straightforward, and it's just like it's like golf practice. It's not even like a mini golf game.
did you guys see? And I know that we thought that there was, but did you guys ever see 18 holes? I mean, I kind
No,
of feel like this is a 9-hole game.
it is a 9-hole game, unless I'm missing something.
So
I did see there was a spot where you could choose, but I never chose anything. Like I did see a spot where it said 9 holes, and it
yeah,
looked like there
but there
might have
was
been an
only.
arrow there. Was there no arrow there that you could choose?
Oh, maybe there was. Maybe I missed it, but
Yeah.
it just looked to me like there was only one choice. It's like it was a place that you could choose, but it only gave you one choice. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there is 18, and I just the UI is bad, and it doesn't quite make that obvious.
well, and that's another thing too. For even if it is 18 holes, which I don't know necessarily it is, are they different holes? And Walkabout, then you unlock the hard night course, and the holes are different, and you're getting putters, and you're unlocking balls, and there's so much to that. Like they just I came into this. I literally said I don't want to compare this to Walkabout. But you kind of have to, right? Because I love Walkabout mini golf. It's literally becoming one of my favorite games in VR. I spend more time when I jump into just a game by myself. I'm jumping into this game or Walkabout mini golf because I'm really loving it, especially with the new controllers. It just is a game changer, and so I just want this game to be the best version it can be.
Yeah. So, yeah. So definitely check out the free course if you want to kind of get a feel for the physics of the game. But just know that it's not an accurate representation of the later courses, which are $12 and are pretty good. Now, here's the thing, the really cool thing, for one of you anyway, is if you have the free course and you'd like to try the other good ones, you could do so by being the first person in our chat to answer this question, because I have a key to give away for the DLC to Mini Golf Aeons on Steam VR.
Well, there you go. You can make a choice for yourself.
All right. So again, you guys know how the rules work. I ask the question, you answer it. First person on my screen to answer the question correctly will win the key. Again, this is for Steam VR only, Mini Golf Ions DLC. It's called the full game DLC, Ruuts.
Is it really the
Imagine
full
that.
game? Yeah.
Full
You want
game.
the full game? Here it is.
Yep. All right, so this game is published by a company called Frozen Dreams, who have published 3 other games on Steam VR. Name one of those games, and you will win the DLC.
Nice.
First person to name one of the games from Frozen Dreams on Steam wins the key. Roots, you're going to. We've played one of their games.
Really?
Kinda.
Kind of. Okay. Well, we played this one too. I was just
Techno
thinking.
glitch. Tech's trying to cheat again.
Heck,
Frozen Dreams.
I was trying to answer the question before I ask it.
well, awesome Tatum.
There you go.
I don't. Stardust really.
I don't know if it is or not.
Did they? I don't. That wasn't one of on my.
That wasn't on
radar,
your list
but-
of games?
No, but I will look. They're all saying Stardust. Or was Tech is saying it because Tatum said it.
Oh, techno.
No, let me check that. That might be correct, but it wasn't one of the ones I know of. So
Techno glitch. Tech.
Who doesn't love Techno Glitch?
Let's see
Wow.
here.
I'd question your soul if you don't love tech.
Oh, you're right. Stardust VR. Good call. Thank you, wife.
Surprised like it
faster
is
than I am.
correct.
Yeah, so congratulations, Tatum. You got it. Other potential correct answers. Let me hold on just a second. I had it up and I lost it.
I do want to know what the how cool the dinosaur level is. Looks pretty cool.
We got to go back and play it to see that. Roots.
Yeah.
I
Need to
jumped
turn-
into that
we-
one very quickly, and then I only
We
had
got-
to play in the whole when I got out.
Only way I'm going back in this game, and I'm 100% serious, is if we somehow try to adjust that friction. I'm curious to see what, because I'd love to get it to a point where things roll the way they're supposed to do it, right? Because
Okay, Stardust VR correct. Other acceptable answers would have been Legendary Hunter VR and Roots Golf Pool VR. Remember Golf Pool?
Yeah, golf pool. That was cool, actually.
Wow.
Although we couldn't get
Remember-
into co-op, but that was only
Right. Remember, it was a game that had great looking environments, but it was a pretty janky game.
mess. Yeah.
Don't remember
mean,
that
it was-
one. I don't think we ever played that one.
Yeah, we tried to go into it co-op, and that was the biggest thing. Is like we just couldn't get in together. So
Anyway, congratulations, Tatum. Hit me up on Discord and we'll get you your key and you can mini golf with up to one other player.
yeah.
No,
For now.
Just kidding. For now, exactly. And by the way, shout out to Frozen Dreams for being so awesome as to not only give us all access to the DLC packs, but giving us an extra to give away as well. That's
Yeah.
super cool.
That is cool.
All right, moving along, PCVR Game of the Month, T for God, we already talked about. Really cool. Everything that we mentioned about the Quest version pertains here. You know what? I don't even know. Is there even a difference in this at all on PC, Eric? Do you know?
I actually popped it in a little bit, and I didn't see any difference at all. But yeah, I tried it on Steam for a little bit.
It's a cool game. No matter where you play it, it's a cool game. So if you're playing on one of the two platforms, it's definitely worth checking out. So
Yep.
check it out. But there was one more. Actually, you know what? Let me say this. Um, there was a lot more than just these 5 games that came out on PCVR this month. I was actually quite surprised when I looked at the Steam log at just how many decent looking games that came out on Steam this month. There was a ton of indie games that I've never heard of that look like they at least had the potential that they might be good. Like, I don't know.
Really?
Obviously,
I
you
wanted to
never
know
know
now.
until you play. But there are games in there that look like they're worth trying. I will say that. So if you're a PCVR gamer and you need something new to play, go to the Steam VR store and just click on new and trending and just scroll your way down through there because there's some interesting looking stuff.
Looper the Underground Game Cat wants to know, is Jupiter Grod in consideration for PCVR?
No, I thought we would wait until it hits Steam because, being out on Rift by itself is kind of a limited use case as the headset itself is dead. And a lot of people on PC still can't play the game. So we will consider Jupiter Grod 2 for PCVR Game of the Month when it comes to Steam. Something else I want to say about Steam too. I want to call shenanigans. And this is something I've noticed in prior months, but it seems to be getting worse and worse and worse. And it's these games that are updating their release date on Steam to make it look like they're new releases when they're not new releases. For example, if you go on Steam right now, it will tell you that Zero Caliber came out a week ago. Zero Caliber came out in 2018. And I kind of get, if you're a game in early access coming out of early access, that makes sense. But I don't even think that's the case for games like Zero Caliber. There was like three or four of these games on the Steam new releases charts that are games that have been out for years, and which is fine. I get that could be a useful marketing tactic for these games to stay on the top of the store. But for someone like me who's trying to filter out what's actually new versus what's not, it can be frustrating because now you have to go and look at the patch notes to see if it came out of early access and you just didn't know it. And a lot of time, chasing stuff like that down. So shenanigans. Eric, I think Wandering Spaces had its release date changed every other month since it launched into early access.
I know. I love that game. Wandering Space is a good game. I got to get back into it because they have some new stuff coming. They have some new maps coming. They have some new announcements coming. So I never put enough time back into that game, and I want to get back into it.
Agreed. Lord Beavis says Zero Caliber received a big update. That's true. And it seems like that's all you need to change your release date now. Is just put a big update in. Now it's a new game again.
Yep. It's freshy.
It's a freshie. Yeah. Anyway, we do have one more nominee for PCVR Game of the Month, and that is a game called Bad Dreams, which just came out of early access on the Steam as it launched subsequently on PSVR 1 as well. But we didn't include it in the PSVR segment because we covered PSVR 2 now for Game of the Month. We're not tracking PSVR 1 yet. When Bad Dreams comes to PSVR 2 in a month or two, then we'll talk about it there then. But this is a bit of a surprise. This is a game that came from a studio called Creative VR 3D. This is the studio that brought us such gems as Nightmare Roller Coaster in years past. A game that was notorious for its level of jank. And Eric, while there is some jank here still, it's pretty minimal. I got to say, this game was very surprising to me at just how good it was. Honestly, it's a good game.
Yeah, I didn't put a ton of time into it, but I wanted to go in and at least look at it and see how the game played, and it was really good. I like it. I thought it was pretty well done. I got through, maybe like, I don't know, 30 minutes, 35 minutes. So it wasn't a ton of time, but I want to go back. So that's a good thing. I think it was, for an indie game, I thought the audio was well done. It had a super creepy vibe to it. Definitely like, one of those games that's going to mess with your head. So I am all about getting back in and checking this thing out. So it seems pretty cool.
Very unique game here, Roots. It's not something that you can really compare directly to anything else, which is kind of a rarity for VR horror. Typically, the genre is very derivative, and the good games are all like one another. Bad Dreams, though, is something very different.
Yeah, so I didn't get a chance to go into it. My only thing is my tolerance for jank in games in general is starting to get less and less as I play better
Th-
and better games. So
There's
what kind of
really
jank are
not
you
much
talking
here.
about?
There's a little bit of jank with, like, sometimes you'll pick up an object and it'll float out of your hands when you're still holding it. But it's very rare and it doesn't happen very often. Again, there's a little bit of jank with holding melee weapons with two hands. Like, the two-handed physics is a little weird, so it makes more sense just to, like, swing bats with one hand versus two. Um, but that's a very small part of the gameplay. It's not like a melee action game. It's something that typically, if you see an enemy, you're going to be running from them, not trying to fight them. Um, so yeah, there's a couple of little things like that. But again, the episodes of jank are pretty few and far between here, and for the most part, it plays pretty well.
But yeah, what you said is true. I mean, especially on the PlayStation VR 2 platform, you've got the horror games you have are like are the best of the best. Some of them anyway, and they're just completely there's no they're all the same. I mean, in a good way, because Resident Evil 8 is amazing, right? But something that's different, that has an indie feel, like you were saying, that's a little bit more creepy and like
Surreal. It's surreal.
surreal.
It's one of those games that I say that we don't have enough of, where
Mhm.
it puts you in these kind of scenarios where you turn your head and something can just, like, the whole room can change around you before you know it. And it's almost psychedelic in certain areas of the game. It gets so weird and out there. There,
How far did you get into it, Wes? Because they had this like cool mechanic where you like put your hands to the side of your head and you can
Mhm.
slow down time. How do they like flesh that whole feature out?
You use it a few times, and what it is you're constantly trying to manage your level of sanity.
Mm-hmm.
So when you start to get scared, you know, things get worse for you, and your hallucinations can harm you. So by putting your hands over your ears and just kind of chilling for a minute can kind of mitigate that a little bit. You use that a little bit, but typically, if you're starting to lose it, you need to find your syringe and inject yourself to get back to normal.
Yeah, Awesome Tatum says Bad Dreams has some cool ideas, hoping the PSVR 2 has fixed the game breaking stuff and jank. So I don't know what kind of
Well, I don't know specifically which version that he's talking about. The PSVR 2 version had, or the PSVR 1 version, I should say, had some jank in it that the PC version does not have. So
right.
maybe he's talking about that version. Anyway, this by far was the most fun I had in PCVR, other than mods this month. And when you talk about T for God, Mini Golf Ions, Operation Wolf, and Battle Bows, hands down, Bad Dreams gets my vote. I think it's easily the best game that came out on PC this month.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that would even come close on our list here would be T for Gods, as far as what we were saying about it and what you're saying about this being unique, kind of puts it over it, because the other three aren't even on the list in my opinion. But
Yeah, it's hard to put a genre on this game. Like, there's some stealth elements to it, there's some puzzling elements to it, there's some action fighting in it. It's kind of clicks all the boxes in that regard. What do you think, Eric? Do you have uh, opinion, a strong opinion on PCVR Game of the Month?
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's those two, right? Like it's either T for God or this game, and like I said, I really want to get back into Bad Dreams, so I mean, I do want to get back into T for God, but I feel like I can go play that on Quest and be just as happy. And Bad Dreams is something that I can't do on Quest, so I mean, for me, it's a PC game I want to go back into. I want to play. I thought what I played was really interesting and super kind of like mind bending. I'm definitely going back in the game, so I'm gonna go with Bad Dreams on this one too.
Nice, nice. How weird is it that this studio that I never played Darkness Roller Coaster, but everyone said that it was just dog shit, and they follow that up with a game that has largely positive reviews, even on Steam, which can be a fickle crowd. Um, I think it's pretty amazing the turnaround from the studio in the span of one title.
Absolutely.
I put it out there to the chat. I'm going to give them just a minute to vote on it because I did just put it up, but it looks like for the most part people are agreeing with us here, and I find that refreshing.
What about
Because-
throwback VR? Awesome Datum was just saying, he said, if you like Paperboy, check out Throwback VR. I just pulled it, or he linked me the Steam page, and it looks like Paperboy on crack. You got aliens fucking swooping down, houses blowing up. Actually looks pretty damn cool for if you like Paperboy.
Yeah, I thought about covering that when it came out, but it seems like when I looked into it, maybe there was a lot of jank with it or something. There was a good reason why I didn't request a key for it.
Yeah, there's no
And,
reviews on it, so that might be why too. I mean, as far as people not jumping in to say it's how good it is, looks cool.
Yeah, no, I thought the trailer looked really cool, and that's why I kind of pursued the idea for a moment. But when I started looking into the game itself, I don't remember exactly what it was, but there was a big red flag with it, and then I said, you know what, I'm not wasting my time.
It's not worth it. Yeah.
Maybe it's really good, but it wasn't good enough to convince me to try it. So
Yeah. Well, let us know, Awesome Tatum. What have you tried it? Is it amazing?
yeah, definitely let us know what you think. All right, we're going to stop the poll here. Looks like 90% of the people agree Bad Dreams should be the game of the month on PC this month. So, congratulations, Creative VR 3D. You've got a winner on your hands. I hope that the PSVR 2 version lives up to my expectations. I played through 3 of the chapters. I think there's only 4 or 5 of them. And I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait to finish it on PlayStation VR 2.
Nice.
So, hopefully, they make use of PSVR 2's special things to make an even better version of already good game. Ding, ding, ding. We have a winner. Chicken dinner. All right, there we are. That is the game of the month this month, ladies and gentlemen. PSVR 2 Synapse, which, by the way, was the best game that came out this month on all platforms by a large margin. Synapse is probably the only must-play title that came out in July. I think August, Eric, is going to be a very different month.
Yeah, August is going to be insane. We're going to be like debating. I just have a feeling it's going to be like it's going to be one of those shows where we're not going to know until probably like right up until we have to make the decision.
Right. Synapse, Jupitergrad 2, The Lost Station, Bad Dreams. Not bad. Not a bad lineup for July, considering how slow the month was. We've got an all-time great game and 2 other really solid ones, and then we had other ones like T for God that didn't win, but were a really good game as well. So maybe not as slow a month as it felt. It was really front-loaded, honestly. July was slow, but it was because all the great games came out at the front end. The Room VR came out on PSVR 2 this month as well. It was a decent month to be such a slow month for releases.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yep.
Moving along into the week's reminders. August is crazy, but the first week of August is not all that crazy. But we do have one title that's out this week. the RISA project VR out on Steam VR. Well, this is the prologue, so this is a beginning to a much larger title coming from Polish developer Real Invented Studio. The RISA project was created within Unreal Engine 5 using Nanite and Lumen. It uses photo scanning technology to recreate RISA, a mysterious Nazi German construction project between 1943 and 1945 in Poland's Owl Mountains. And I don't know how to pronounce that castle. Sias Castle. Split across 7 underground structures. RISA's exact purpose has never been determined. Playing as Anna, the RISA project takes direct inspiration from true events to create a new mystery. Tasks with solving interactive puzzles, you use your in-game phone to dig through various messages, finding new clues about what's transpired. This is something very unique, Roots, as we haven't seen a lot of games that use real-life photo scans to kind of bring a new level of realism to VR games. This is a technology that is developing for VR that's really potentially going to make a big difference when you're considering that VR has always kind of been a step behind traditional games in terms of photorealism. This technology can bring things potentially up to the point of being almost true to life real. So the fact that they're using that technology here, the fact that they're using Unreal Engine 5 and its most advanced features in a VR game, and bringing us a story-driven puzzler, they've got my attention here, man. This seems like something different from other games we've seen.
Yeah, absolutely. And just speaking from somebody that's been playing Unreal Engine 5 game flat, like it's next level. Like I can't wait to see this in VR. Especially, I don't even think that Remnant 2 is using the technology that this is using. So like, photorealism, I'm all for it. I definitely can imagine going into this forest and seeing trees that actually look like real trees, because that's the biggest thing I would say in VR that never looks real ever. You know, like even when they look somewhat real, it doesn't look real. So I'm looking forward to this, and this could be. I mean, we might be entering the golden age of this type of photometry. It's just cool.
Eric, I mean, this looks pretty solid for an indie VR game, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, it does. But you know what? I mean, I'm not surprised. These Polish developers are really, really good at doing these types of games. I'm not really familiar with this particular developer, but there's a lot of them out there that make this type of game, and they have it. They've kind of nailed it down with some of this stuff, and this is just a creepy, genre, and it's based on real events. I'm really, really interested in this game. I want to see exactly what this is going to look like. I'm looking forward to getting into this.
Time to reach out for a review key. Developer, if you're seeing this, we really want to play your game. Please send us review keys, or at least one that we can all share.
Yeah.
Please and thank you. Or I guess I should say, bitte, please. That's the German word for please. Let's move along and take a look at some viewer comments. We start with William777 says, no, you don't get to experience Uncharted 4 for the first time and in VR. I am so jealous. Uncharted 4 is a perfect game. Rootsy's jealous of you. He thinks you're better than him.
Yeah. You think you're better than me? I do, actually. No, I'll tell you what. Uncharted 4, I was thinking about it earlier today because I was going into the skater game. And I was like, man, I just want to go into treasure hunt game. Uncharted 4 has actually gripped me in a way that I didn't think it would, because the gameplay and the story are just phenomenal. It's legit AAA, and I'm looking forward to spending a lot of time into it this week.
Yeah, PCVR gamers, hit me up. You can grab that collection for $25, and I can help you, fine tune it. I did have someone reach out to me, Jungle Juice, um, reached out to me because he was getting some low resolution visuals in this game, which I found surprising, Roots, because my experience has been this has been one of the better looking Luke Ross mods. Like I didn't have to tweak it much at all to get it to look really super sharp.
Now, the biggest thing is you have to set the in the mod that you have to change the what is that setting, right? That you change that number. I can't think of what it is right now, but you have to. It
Talking about
changes the
PPD,
no, the IPD or whatever, or you mean just for the resolution?
the pixels per
Yes,
degree in
yes,
the Luke
yep.
Ross mod.
Yeah, you have to do that.
I didn't even tweak that. All I did was I went into the in-game settings. See, when you apply the Luke Ross mod to Uncharted, it automatically downscales the game in the game settings to 50%. So you just have to. Well, all I did was I went into the in-game settings and I adjusted the resolution scaling from 50 to 100, and it looked great. From there, I didn't even mess with the PPD at all.
If you mess with the PPD, you're gonna be shocked at how much you're just gonna even make it look even better. It just you can fine tune it in. And it's what's funny is I actually did the opposite of US. I didn't change because I didn't find out about the in-game stuff until after I changed the the PPD and not the in-game, and was able to get it to look better. But it would have looked so much better if I would have scaled it up as well. So
Yeah, you got to do that because the Luke Ross mod, it changes like the kind of the headset resolution when you change that PPD. But if you want the actual detail in game to increase, you have to change it with the in-game settings. So you need to go fix that.
I just want to know if Sam's alive. My brother's out there. He may be in that hole, and I feel guilty that I left him behind.
How dare you?
How dare you?
How dare you?
Eric, I think you even asked me. You said, "Did you leave him behind, or somebody did?" And I was like, "Fuck, man, I should have went back. I should have stayed and but it was a prison, and what are you gonna do? You know?"
Did you run it in Oculus mode, automatic, or OpenXR Roots?
I usually what I do if I have a choice, I always opt for Oculus mode because I'm playing on Oculus, and so that's usually what I'll opt for.
Yeah, well, playing on the G2, I used OpenXR, and it ran very well for me. So if you're using an Oculus headset and you're getting not so great results, it might be worth trying the OpenXR mode. Yeah.
I wish everything would just go OpenXR and just have a standard across the board, right?
Yeah, that would be nice. Have you got in there yet, Eric, at all?
Nope, not at all. I'm gonna do it this week for sure. Probably tomorrow afternoon. No CruCast tomorrow, so
I know.
Yeah,
do it during the CruCast.
You need to start. You need to start tomorrow because, again, this week we're going to kind of be talking about the game and kind of having played into it a little bit. So it's a pretty long game. Yeah.
I'm on my own. I got no wife and no daughter for forever now. How long?
Forever,
for a long time, at least for the foreseeable future. So
wow,
I don't have as many things going on.
It's a gaming daydream.
Point. Yeah, right.
Yeah. No, you're gonna get into it. You're gonna love it, and I'm looking forward to getting back into it. Super good game.
Yeah.
Paradise Decay says Reshade for the win, for sure. So I mentioned last Friday that I had some issues getting Super Depth 3D to hook into Ratchet and Clank. What I didn't mention that it was Paradise Decay's advice that helped me through that trying time. So shout out to PD. Ratchet and Clank, really solid playing it in 3D with Reshade and Super Depth 3D. I had just the headset restarting. Is that it might be literally a headset issue, not even a driver issue, but the headset itself overheating.
Yeah, what are you going to do too, right? It's at the end of its cycle. They're not doing shit for you. It's way out of its warranty. I would like to say that I had a very detailed discussion with Paradise Decay with him trying to explain to me why Reshade is so much better than, he even said he enjoyed Reshade. The Reshade of Uncharted 4 better than the Luke Ross mod. And I
See,
said,
that's
for
what Jungle
me,
Juice
what
was telling me too. He was telling me that that the thing looks way worse on the Luke Ross mod than it looks in
but
Reshade.
this is the this is the difference, and this is what I told him. You know, like at the end of the day, whatever you want to say, it's still a projected screen. I'm still looking at a game on a screen, curved or flat, in 3D. And so for me, it doesn't negate the discomfort of wearing a headset. It's a lot more comfortable for me to not have a headset on and play a game that's flat than it is to play a game that's in the headset with 3D for the 3D. The 3D doesn't make it enough for me. And to say, because he says, well, if you wrap it around, you're in the game. No, you're not. Like when I look up, I'm looking at black sky. When I look down, I'm not looking.
True.
I can't look over a cliff. And even a Luke Ross mod, even with no 3D in the mono mode, I'm still in the fucking game, and it still has a 3D depth to it, and it still looks way better than Reshade would ever look, in my opinion, because I'm actually in the game.
That's right. Camera
So,
movement is tracked to your head when you're in the game. So like even if with the screen taking up your entire field of view, you're still having to use the thumbstick to look around, where that's not the case when you're actually in the game. It's fully projected around you, and you're just looking around by looking around. It does make a difference with immersion, and that's not to even mention the fact that the the gunplay is also tracked by your head movement. So you move the reticle by moving your head around, which makes the it's not like having full on motion controllers, but it's definitely better than aiming with a thumbstick, right?
yeah, absolutely. And it's just different, and it's not a knock at. I guess it kind of is a knock at Reshade, but I mean that Reshade's doing what it does. It puts it in a game into 3D on a screen, and you can.
Oh, I love Reshade. And again, Ratchet and Clank, I'll never play it flat again because it's so good in Reshade.
Yeah,
So.
see, I think the only way that I'm playing it would be with another mod that puts me into VR or on the PlayStation 5, which I'm tempted to do now, actually. But I just all Reshade makes me want to do is have a legit mod to be in the game. That's just for me.
I like both.
Well,
I'm down with both. If I can't do it, I mean, I prefer to do it in VR, but if I can't do it in VR, I'd rather play, like, I played Returnal in Reshade, and I absolutely loved it. I had no issues playing it in Reshade. I want to play it in VR, and I will. But if I didn't have a choice, I would definitely go and play it. I wouldn't want to play. I would rather play it. I mean, I would play it flat again, I guess, but I'd rather play it in Reshade than play it flat, I think.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. That 3D does mean something to me. It means a lot, actually. I like Turtles 7947 says the problem with looking at the Steam hardware survey is that PCVR is growing, but not as fast as PC gaming in general. So relative to PC gaming, in general deflates the numbers that you see. That's a good point, and something that I didn't consider on the last episode when we were talking about kind of the growth of PCVR. Is that that's true? If that is indeed true, that PC gaming in general is growing at a quick rate, which I can't confirm nor deny. But if it were to be growing at a faster rate than PCVR, then it would deflate the percentages, so to speak, in terms of the percentage of people playing PCVR versus those that aren't. So that's true. So good call. I like Turtles. My bad. And lastly, we have Corporate Zombie here who says, you have pi 1,000 subscribers. The circle is complete. That's a good point. 3.14 we are at right now. And if you haven't subscribed already, there's a button down there. Just click on it, ring the bell, and that way you can be notified next time that we mod flat games in the VR, which is going to be something that happens increasingly more and more, I got to imagine, as the mods continue to roll in. All right, why don't we all just take a moment really quick here before we sign off and go together and wishlist a game. This is a very important thing for the developers out there. This is our way of saying thank you for dedicating your time, the years that it takes to create a VR game, when you could have, went and made some stupid cooking game in flat and probably made twice as much money. We appreciate you, and we're going to show our appreciation right now by going and wish listing a game. And for me, it's kind of a no brainer this week. One, because we only really covered one new game, but two, because it really looks cool, and that is the Risa or Risa project. I think that game looks awesome, and definitely going to go wishlist it right now.
Yeah, and give it a review. It's only got 6 user
6
reviews.
Yeah. I know. I just wish to listen to myself, and it's crazy. It's only got 6 reviews.
Well, what about this? Here's throwback VR.
Ooh, there you go.
It's your game if you want to have Super Paperboy on crack. That's what I'm. Well, that's not what I'm wish listing. Actually, I think I'm going to go with the Reese project as well. Although, if you get this on sale, Awesome Tatum says it's not bad.
Okay, it's not bad.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. Hey, you got to check out this restaurant. Oh, how's the food? Yeah, it's not bad. Oh, dude, I'm fucking. I can go and right now. I'm on my way.
Well, at least it's not bad.
That's true.
If it was bad, that would be a lot worse. Add it. All right, there we go. Risa project. Look at some of these screenshots, man. That looks
Yeah, it looks good.
looks really good. Yeah, I'm down. I'm down at Real Invented Studio.
Yeah, really. Send us a key.
All right, and I do believe that is our show for this week, friends. This is the last reminder this weekend that every week, and that is how you can support us, our community, and our channel. We already told you, if you haven't already, subscribe and ring the bell so that you can get those beautiful notifications up there on the top right hand part of your screen that'll let you know that Wes and Ruuts are going to be live sometime in the next 2 to 5 hours whenever we're ready to go. Of course, if you've already done that and you'd like to do a little something extra, you can support us on Patreon, where for as little as $3 per month, you can gain access to our weekly show notes, insider updates, occasionally some exclusive content, all for less than $1 per week. And you get to feel good about yourself knowing that you helped us buy our next flat game that we're going to mod into VR. We wouldn't be able to cover games like this if it weren't for you, because I don't know about you, Eric, but I'm not going and dropping $60 on any damn game.
No, thank God Bruce bought me Remnant
Hey.
too.
I don't mind paying good money and I don't mind spending time in really good games too. Like, I guarantee Uncharted 4, by the time we talk about it, I'm going to put 30 hours into that game. And I haven't gone back into it, but that's how good that game is. I can just feel it. It's just, I'm very cheap with my time, if that makes sense. Like, if a game is mediocre, I just don't want to waste my time in it. I just don't. And so, like, if a game is really good, I'm in there.
Looper, the Underground Game Cat, says it reads Rees. The Rees project. Okay.
Nice. There you go.
I read it as Reese, but yeah, Reese sounds better. Like, or Rise.
So, rice. That's what it's rice or Reese. Rees. Whatever, man. It looks cool, whatever you say it. So yeah, thank you, everyone out there who donates via Patreon, via YouTube Super Chat, via PayPal donation. It all adds up and it all makes a huge difference, and we wouldn't be able to cover half the games that we do if it weren't for your support. So thank you. We appreciate you all. You also get your name in the credits at the end of the show. Well, I never mentioned that, but that's kind of one of the coolest parts of it. You get to see your names scroll slowly up the screen as the cool music plays at the end.
Yeah, that is cool music.
Hell yeah.
And of course, last but not least, maybe you're broke like the rest of us. If that's true, you're in luck, because it costs absolutely nothing to join the Virtual Strangers Discord channel. And that's where we live 24/7, 365, hanging out, playing games, talking about life, checking out Betty's video whenever she shares it. Cool things, cool people happening on the Virtual Strangers Discord. There's an invitation in the description down below. Click it. You will be greeted at the door, I assure you. And you will see something cool on there in the next 7 days, most likely, because that's typically what happens.
Yeah, or share your stuff. You might see your stuff in the self promo. That's what's cool about that channel, right? Is everybody gets to post their stuff.
Nobody's allowed to post their stuff on our Discord. It's about us only, and no one can cross promote their communities and channels in there. That's against the rules.
That's how our Discord got started. Is people getting pissed at us posting our stuff there. It's like, okay, fuck you. We're out. We're out. It's crazy.
Anyway, yeah. Join us on there. Coolest people in the world in the Virtual Strangers Discord. Become part of the fam by clicking the link below. And with that said, friends, I'd like to thank you all once again for watching. For Eric and Roots, I'm Wes. We will see you on Friday, where we talk about the same game we talked about last week. This is a bad idea, Eric. We're just going to cover the same games all the time.
I know, right? I don't care. That's fine.
Well, Eric hasn't given his take, and we'll get to give a better take about how cool the mod is and the game in general, and whether
I'm
people
going to
should do
finish it.
Yeah.
I'm going to finish the game. I'm going to do it this week.
Anyway,
I'm
wow,
torn.
It'd be good if you could finish it.
I'm torn. I almost feel like you shouldn't even be playing the game because you've played through it and you've got that sequel, the extra legacy you could go right into.
Here's the thing, man. This game is so good. It made such an impression on me, even though it was like 70 years ago that I played it. I only played it one time. It's such a good game.
You want to play it again?
I'm playing it again, and I'm recognizing things and remembering things vividly from it. Even all that long ago, I'm remembering where I found little small collectibles and stuff, like playing it flat before I ever had VR. The one time.
Crazy.
It's crazy. It's such a good game. And it's surreal to revisit it all these years later and have these memories, but now I'm in it. Now I'm in the fucking game.
Now you gotta
awesome.
play it that way. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and as you play through it, the variety of levels, like it would be hard for me to stop playing it now because I know what's coming and I want to be in that. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm maybe we'll get to that sequel someday, but I'm stuck on this right now and I don't want to stop playing it.
Yeah. Cool.
Anyway, we'll be talking more about that on Friday, friends. We'll see you then. Good night.
Take it easy.
See you later.